Ladies and gentlemen, hailing from Cleveland, Ohio, I give you BVO.
Oh, we boxing? Yeah, we boxing. I need that belt like it ain't no other option. So we punching and weaving and blocking. Defeat ain't an option. Let them know. Shoot a video, put it on BVO. Let them know. Every time I punch, it's a heavy blow. BVO, bound to hit like bricks cause it was set in stone. Let them know. I ain't getting body, but I'ma hit this flow. Yeah, way more than a show. This is BVO.
Salute, salute, salute. It's your boy BBO Boxing, aka God's favorite. I'm in the house with the Puerto Rican Prince himself. What's going on, Free? How you feeling, man?
Man, I'm good. What's good? Who wants you?
Oh man, all is well. I can't complain. So I want to ask you this, man. We got a big topic today. But I want to send a shout out to our sponsor real quick. I'm gonna have you shout out our sponsor real quick. Let me get our page up. Go ahead.
Man, shout out to RayconGlobal.com. Shout out to our sponsor today. If you're looking for AirPods, headphones, electric scooter bikes, go to Raycon.com global. RayconGlobal.com. They got all of the headphones that you're looking for. They got the AirPods that you're looking for. And we will be coming out with our exclusive membership discount. So just be on the lookout for that. We should have our membership discount on this Wednesday. So be on the lookout for that. Shout out to RayconGlobal.com for sponsoring this live.
So salute to my man Sugar Cane Marky, man. He came to work today. How you doing, brother? How you feeling? Can you hear me, Mark?
Good. I hope y'all had a good.
He dealing with that daggone.
He fell off. He fell off. But today, man, we got a big discussion, man. So who do you got early, man, in the David versus David battle?
I got David winning that for
My
sure.
bad, BBO. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Hold on, wait till Free go, then you go.
Yeah, I definitely got David winning this fight. I mean, you can't get me to go no other way. I gotta bet on David because when you look at this matchup, David is proven. David been a champion, so hey, you gotta go with David.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, I mean, I can't disagree with. I really can't disagree. David is gonna win, but for real, I got David Morrell winning this fight. Just looking at the style matchup, I think he has the ability to move laterally, and to hit Benavidez from angles where Benavidez won't be able to hit him. I think for Benavidez to get his off, he's gonna have to come forward, and like he usually does, it's gonna be in a straight line. So he's gonna have to take punishment in order to get his own off. So yeah, I got Morrell. I think he's gonna stop him probably somewhere 8 through. I'm gonna say 8 through 10.
Yeah. Real quick, I'm gonna elaborate on that. Yeah, I was speaking of David Morrell. I know Tom was like, which David are you talking about? No, I'm going with David Morrell. I agree with everything that mostly everything that Marky said. I don't think it's going to be a knockout though. I think it's going to go to the scorecard. Only way I see it being a knockout is if David Benavidez continues to come forward, because I think at some point he's going to realize him coming forward is not the best solution, and I think he's gonna end up being on his back foot. And he's going to go into survival mode. So I don't think it's going to be a knockout. I think it's going to go the distance because David Benavidez, he's a tough guy. He has been sat down, but he's never been like physically hurt. I think it was a flash knockdown that he when he took the knockdown, he got right back up and he ended up stopping his opponent. But I think it's going to go the distance. But I do got David Morrell. Being the better boxer, being better defensively, and having the better lateral movement. I don't think you can beat David Morrell just by coming forward throwing a bunch of shots.
I would definitely say that's a good idea, but we know Benavidez is going to beat the Cuban sandwich out of him. We talk about David Benavidez, who fought people like Boo Boo Andre, Caleb Plant, Anthony Durrell. I mean, he's fought the who's who in the 168-pound division, and then he went up and fought. I can't mess the Rush's name up, and won a close fight. So, in my humble opinion, I think that Benavidez is going to win this fight. I can say this: Morrell's a good boxer, but we've never seen Morrell with anybody in there who could even match him anywhere physically or athletically. So I think this will be the big test for him to see how he matches against somebody who athletically is as good as him. But like we always do before we start to get into the show, we looking for 3 appreciations. Doesn't matter the numerical number. There's 3 appreciations. This is how we push the channel forward. You see that going across the screen. You want to support BVO Boxing. That's the best way to do it. We're looking for 3 appreciations. That's all we need from you guys. And that's just how we push the channel, making sure we can keep the lights on. But I'll ask you guys this real quick. Salute to my man, Real Prison Talk with Tommy. D3, salute to Tay. My man, Pound for Pound Boxing. Salute to my man, Mike Grimm. Salute to my brother, Mike Grimm. And definitely salute to my man, Sheldon, man. So, and definitely Daniel. So I'm going to ask you guys this. So what happens if Morrell is able to win this fight? How would it change his stock in boxing, you guys? What do you guys think?
David Morrell, if David Morrell won?
If David Morrell was the one, how would this change his stock?
If I could go first, Free, I would hope that it would propel him to a Beterbiev fight. That's the fight that I would hope. That I would think that would be the biggest fight at 175, and it should be easy for Turkey to make because he's worked with both of them in the past. So, yeah, if David Morrell were to win that fight, I hope he could he'd get the undisputed fight.
Yeah, I think it would definitely put either one of them in the driver's seat to getting that undisputed fight between Arthur. But I think besides that portion of winning that fight, I think it puts David Morrell on the map because a lot of people is not paying attention to David Morrell as of right now because he only has 12 fights. But the thing is, a lot of people looked at David Benavidez as being that person that's going to take Canelo off his throne. And David Morrell goes out there and beat David Benavidez. It definitely puts him on the map, and people start paying attention to David Morrell because David Morrell been wanting this fight since they was at 168. So it's almost like this guy has been following David. Well, it has. David Benavidez went to 75, and Morrell was like, well, if you're going to 75, I'm going to 75. So David Morrell been following David Benavidez looking to make this fight.
I think in this fight, I think it'll be good for Morrell to win. The only thing I'll say about Morrell is he really has to work on some things because his last fight, he arguably lost. Do you guys worry about, you guys think Ronnie Shields the right trainer for him?
Yeah, I think Ronnie Shields the right trainer.
Yeah, I think Ronnie Shields. Well, I mean, I don't know if he's the right trainer, but I know that he's a good trainer and he has a good reputation. But he didn't arguably lose that fight. I don't know what you're talking.
No.
If anything, David Benavidez, you could argue he lost his fight because he lost the last 5 to 6 rounds of that fight. He was gassed.
That's what I said. David Benavidez. I understand he won his fight, but everybody was like, oh, he put on a better performance than David Morrell. The only thing I saw from David Morrell that he could have improved on in that fight was learning how to cut the ring off because his opponent kept running. His opponent kept running. Now, David Morrell could have cut the ring off better in that fight. The difference is between his last opponent and David Benavidez. David Benavidez don't move like that. David Benavidez is a come forward fighter. He doesn't move laterally like that or try to get away from the battle. He's going to go to the battle. So that's the difference between the opponents. And I don't use those last opponents to say this is why this guy won, this is why that guy won, because both of them didn't have their best performance in that fight, and neither one of the guys that they fought like the other guy. That they fight like each other. So I'm not using that as a measuring stick of who win. I'm looking at the tangibles that each one of them had. David Benavidez, like I said, he's more of a come forward fighter. He throws a lot of combinations. He doesn't have real good footwork. He has okay footwork, but he doesn't have real good footwork far as getting out of the way of punches. He has good footwork as far as placing his foot in the right position to be able to throw his punches, but he doesn't have footwork to get out of the way of punches. David Morrell is better defensively than David Benavidez, in my opinion. And David Benavidez, I don't think he's as powerful as David Morrell. That remains to be seen. But I think David Morrell is more of a one punch knockout artist, and David Benavidez is more of a accumulation of punches.
Well, let me ask you this, Free. Are you saying this because Puerto Rico is closer to Cuba than Mexico is? Or this how you honestly feel?
No, that's how I feel. That's how I've been feel. I've been saying this. This ain't something that I'm just now saying. I've been saying this for over a year now. I said I had David Morrell as the one guy at 68 that nobody beats. I said I had David Morrell over everybody at 168 for over a year now.
And you know,
I've held the same sentiment.
I get that. My whole thing is this, because at one time, I'll be totally honest, I had David Morrell, but his last fight to me scared me so bad that it let me know that, you know what, there's no way that he can win this fight. And I'm gonna say this because I don't think people understand that when he was fighting Boo Boo Andrade, he was getting pushed around for the first time really in his career. And he was able to weather the storm against Caleb Plant, because Caleb Plant was winning at the early rounds in that fight. He really was winning the early rounds. So when I seen him be able to overcome that, and he was able to beat the ref too as well, Kenny Bayless, who did everything he could to make sure Caleb Plant survived. I said,
think about
Benavidez.
that though, BVO.
Hold on, let me finish, bro. Let me finish, bro. Let me finish. Let me finish, bro. Bro, let me finish. That bro, don't let you finish the monologue. Suit to my man, Sugar Cane. And Vibes Cartel is free, even though Marky Dan wanted him to rot in jail. I'm glad you're free. Salute to the man. Salute to the world king. Salute to the world king. But
I was just on St. Croix.
So I'll just say this, because I know Marky Dan is burning whenever somebody talking, he ready to talk. I'll say this. When I see David Benavidez, I see a lot of determination, and I see a lot of that this desire to be great. And it feels like every time you ask him to do something, he's ready to meet the moment. He's one of those young guys who you ain't got to ask him to fight nobody. He's kind of got that Oscar De La Hoya attitude where, hey, you got to bring it to get it. So for me, I'm definitely, especially when you got a guy like Jose Benavidez Sr., who really has learned a lot working with his son. I've seen his son improve defensively. I've seen his son improve footwork, and he keeps bringing guys in to improve him. Well, I haven't seen such big improvements when it comes to my man Morrell. But go ahead, what you got on there, Mark?
No, I was just gonna make the point that Caleb Plant, Demetrius Andrade, those are little dudes, BBO. David Morrell is and pause, no Diddy, all that.
Hold on. I want to do you right. I want to do you right, because that was crazy. That was nasty
I didn't
work.
even say it yet. I said David Morrell is a bigger guy. I just said.
Whoa.
No Diddy. I said no Diddy. I say no Diddy. No Diddy. This is a sick Negro.
No, sick Negro.
No Diddy. David Morrell is a bigger guy than
Please say pause, man. Dudes. Please.
Pause. All of that. Yeah. So yeah, there's a certain size advantage he has in that fight that he hasn't. That David Benavidez was able to push those little dudes around, and you saw in that last fight with Godzik, especially in the last half, he wasn't able to push him around.
No, good point.
So I would like to. So I'm interested in this matchup. But you're right, David Morrell, he didn't have his best performance either. at 175, but we're gonna see.
Yeah,
That's gonna make this an interesting fight too.
I gotta piggyback off of what Marky Dan said, because we saw in those first 6 rounds with Caleb Plant, David Benavidez had problems with the moving of of Caleb Plant. Now he could have learned from that. He could have learned from that, but he seemed to have a little bit of problems with when he got in there with Boo Boo Andrade as well. I mean, he was landing shots to the body because Boo Boo Andrade, he was coming up from a smaller weight class, and he's not as a mover as Caleb Plant. He will move a little bit, and then he'll stand there and throw a shot, and then he'll move some more. Well, the difference was when Boo Boo stopped moving, he allowed David Benavidez to go to his body, and he allowed David Benavidez to get off his punches in those first 6 rounds with Caleb Plant. Caleb Plant didn't allow David Benavidez to get off any shots like that. He kept moving. Now, the difference between those 2 guys and David Morrell is Caleb Plant has a gas tank problem, and Boo Boo came from a smaller weight class. You don't have that when you got David Morrell in there. You got a guy who doesn't have a gas tank problem and who is not coming from a smaller weight class. Both of y'all came from the same weight class together. So both of y'all are getting acclimated at 175. And it's not like he's fighting the bigger guy at 175 who's been at 175. He's fighting a guy who has one fight the same. Hold on. He has the same fight as David Benavidez at 175. I think they fought the same weekend or the weekend behind each other. So we was able to see both of these guys at 175 at the same time. So he doesn't have that advantage over David Morrell. So and another thing is he doesn't have the reach advantage like he had over Boo Boo and Caleb Plant neither. David Morrell is the same size as David Benavidez as far as height and reach. He doesn't have that advantage that he had over those 2 guys as well.
I'll say this, man. Shout out to my favorite Puerto Rican man, always showing love with the 5-piece, man. Like I said, we only need 2 more appreciations. This is how we run the channel, keep the lights on, man, because we can't sit in the dark. But I'll say this. Everything Free is saying sounds good. It might even make people feel good, but we know when he get in there with a monster like David Benavidez, who's called the Mexican Monster, it's going to be a tough fight, I believe, because I think Morrell has somewhere like over 200 amateur fights, so he's been a pro for a long time. So don't let the fight count fool you. I think it's a good point what you're saying about the movement. But one thing I haven't seen is I've never seen David Morrell so out of character. He's throwing belts at people, telling people, inviting them to his private parts. I mean, I think that shout out to my guy, David Benavidez, for psyching him out. And you can see that he is mentally weak. I mean, he tried to hit the man in the head with a doggone belt. Where you do that at? So I just put it like this. When you break a man mentally and you living in a man's head full time, rent free, that's tough. That's tough. But let me say this real quick before I pass the mic. Salam alaikum, Salim Ramadan to my guy, man. Shout out to Clarence McClain, man. If you guys are looking for your oils, your bean pies, your thobes, check my brother Clarence out. And also, I heard he cutting hair too on the side. But the thing I say, before I let the mic go, is that I just think that we have to be honest. When we see David Benavidez, he's everything we wanted. He's the white Mexican who's not scared to fight anybody. Does that remind you of Oscar De La Hoya? No. Yeah. I think Oscar's back.
Isn't Benavidez mom black? Isn't she like Peruvian and black?
She Mexican, bro.
Somebody in his family black.
No, he's not Mexican. He's not Mexican.
She's Honduran. Sorry, she's Honduran. Because I believe he said something else about him being Honduran. His grandma got him a little bit calling something Mexican.
With the race, BB. Always.
Welcome to America, Marky Dan. That's what sells. Whatever. I mean, I understand where you come from. They play soccer all day and listen to Calypso, but we don't do that over here. We listen to rap music, man. We don't listen to that stuff we listen to. But I'll just say this. Morrell is a good fighter, but I think he bit off more than he can chew. And you can see it in his behavior, him throwing belt. Why would you even think it's okay to throw your belt at somebody? That's because the man is psyched out. That's what it
I
is.
think
The
he's
man.
ready, as you like to say, he's ready to beat him lifeless. He's ready to beat him to death. That's what I think he's ready to do. So I mean, I
Hey,
don't know.
There, when you push a man, you got to understand there's some repercussions behind that. But I look at it as this:
you hit me with a belt free.
No, I hit you with a belt. I hit you with a bottle. I hit you with anything. If I can't get to you physically, if I can't get to you physically, I'm picking up the next closest thing to me and throwing it at you. I'm gonna try to get my lick back at some point in time if I can't get to you physically. But when you look at when you look at David Morrell, and he said he think that David Benavidez got to him mentally. I think the thing is I think David Morrell has been watching David Benavidez because he's been calling for this fight. He's been calling for this fight for over a year now. And I understand Ronnie Shields said, I think like two years ago that he don't think Morrell is ready for David Benavidez. Morrell never thought that. Morrell wanted that fight. Ronnie said he didn't want that fight for David Morrell. So when you got a guy that's been watching somebody and been wanting that fight, you have time to sit back and study him. I don't know if David Benavidez has been watching Morrell the way Morrell's been watching him. So usually when you're watching somebody, you're studying everything they do. You're studying their weaknesses. You're studying their strong points. The same way that Bud did to Earl Spence. Bud been watching Earl Spence, and he said, I've been watching Earl Spence since I came to 147. He's been watching everything Earl Spence do. He studied his weaknesses. He studied his strength. So when you got a guy that's watching everything you do and they studying all your stuff, usually plays a point. I mean, it plays a part in that preparation for the fight, and it usually plays a part when the fight actually happens. You see that he's usually one step ahead of that other fighter because he's been watching everything they do. Not saying that it will play a part in this fight, but it usually plays a part when you studying your opponent that way.
Well, I'll say this. I think, and salute to my man Puerto Rican Tommy. I think he's supposed to be coming through. But you know, Puerto Ricans can't tell time for nothing. But I'll say this. I think the thing that's so shocking about what Free is saying is that when Virgil Ortiz's trainer said that he needed 4 years, that's like Virgil saying it. But when Ronnie Shields said he needed about 2 years before he fights King David, the Mexican monster, it changes. So let's just be consistent here. We got to be consistent. We got to be consistent when we talk. So I'll just say this. Hold on.
No, because you saying something that I said. I'm gonna tell you, I am consistent. Yeah, Ronnie Shields did say that. The difference between Ronnie Shields and Robert Garcia and David Morrell and Virgil Ortiz, the difference between the two is David Morrell came out and said he want the fight. Ortiz never came out and said he wanted to fight. That's the difference between the two.
And you see how people move the mark for people that they like. At the end of the day, when you told me, you said the trainer is speaking for everybody. I mean, I don't know.
The trainer
did. You told me.
The trainer does speak for everybody. The trainer does speak for.
That's not an opinion that's held by everybody,
talking.
BBO. I didn't hold that opinion for Virgil because Virgil promptly, after Robert Garcia said that, Virgil fired him.
He did.
Was promptly fired. So I didn't hold that on Virgil. So I don't hold that on David Morrell either.
Hold on, you said
I'm consistent. So I don't know who you're pointing that at.
You said Virgil fired him, but Robert Garcia was his trainer for his very next fight.
No. He wasn't his trainer for his very next fight.
He had that one dude. He had his I don't know if you call him an assistant. Yeah, but he had an assistant.
I remember that they were doing free. Yeah, they were. Robert Garcia was training another fighter on the same night on an ESPN card.
Training overseas for somebody else. That's why he didn't have him in the corner, because he came right back to Robert Garcia. He had Robert Garcia this fight.
He came back a couple years later, but still, he fired him. He fired him at the time, Free.
No, like I said, the only difference is David Morrell spoke for himself. Ronnie Shields said what he said, but David Morrell spoke for himself. He said, "No, I want that fight." He said, "I want it." Virgil never said he wanted to fight when Robert Garcia said we need 4 years, we need 48 months. He never said he wanted to fight with Boots. He just recently said he wanted to fight with Boots. Just recently, never said he wanted to fight with Boots.
Yeah, I think I think the tough thing about it is no matter how it shakes out, I just think Morrell really has no chance. Because we're talking about a superior fighter who's fought the superior competition. So smash the like button for me, please. Smash the like button, man. I heard a voodoo man say, "Man, ring my doorbell before you come in." So do like the voodoo man said, and ring my doorbell before you come in, please. Smash that like button for us. But I think the thing that's so crazy about this is we're not talking about the fact that we heard David Benavidez saying he has aspirations to go to heavyweight. So when I hear stuff like that, that just goes to show you that Benavidez is that guy. He's that guy, bro. He's that guy. So I mean, we can play the games if we want to. Go ahead.
5 to 6 years from now, he said he go to heavyweight fight Usyk 5 to 6 years from now.
He go to heavyweight right now, 5-6 years from now, and I like Mexican Monster Killer, but he would get knocked the F out, get mashed up there. Too big, too much for him up there. It won't even take too much of an elite dude to mash him up there. That's a little too much for the guy. A little too much for him.
You think
I want to send a big shout out to my man Tampa Tommy for that 5-piece, man. Like I said, we just need one more appreciation, man. We working, man. And like I said, where can you come find a Jamaican brother, a sugar cane, a Puerto Rican, and a brother all on one show? So we having some fun on here, man. So come through.
Yeah, you're unbelievable, bro. Yo, all I just want to know, and salute to everybody on the panel. I just want to know, when can I show the video on this channel of you capping and showing how much you switched over from Morrell to Benavidez?
I said I switched over. We'll play the video. Play the video.
Okay, I didn't hear you say that because you said that David Morrell was going to be heavyweight champion one day.
Well, we'll play the video, man. I don't know. Play the video. I think it's AI what you're trying to put up, but it's okay.
Nah. It's I got it. Give me a second. I'm gonna pull it up.
See? Now, if it was a real video, it would have came right up.
I got it. Let's see. Does this work?
Hold on. Give him a second. Give him a second. Video. Let the facts come.
This is a sick Negro.
Hold on.
Hey, you know. But you know, shout out to my man, my second favorite ox, my man Thomas Hill, man. I appreciate Thomas Hill, man. He's one of my favorite ox, man. If you want to get your bacon, egg, and cheese, he'll hook you up, man. He'll hook you up. Put it on a roll, put it on a bagel. And man, salute to my brother Mike Garner, man, helping us get to our appreciation goal with another 5-piece. Salute.
You let me know when you want me to play that video.
If that's a real video, play it.
Hold on.
See, the video's not real.
Yeah, give me a sec. I gotta figure this out. Hold on. I got you right now.
Yes, AI. See, it's not real.
I think the funny thing about what we see, man, with Morrell, and I get it. I get my brother CK don't believe in the David Morrell Jr., who I think is a terrific fighter. I mean, he literally went in there with a guy who's pretty tough and beat the brakes off of him. And that just don't happen. You don't see guys get in the ring and look so dominant. I mean, do I think he could beat Canelo? Absolutely not. I mean, I think Canelo might stop him. But when it comes to that guy, Benavidez, he'll beat the curls off of him.
But wait. So you're saying that Canelo would stop David Morrell, right? That's what you're saying?
Yes, because of his experience.
So how can he be special if he can't even last 12 rounds with Canelo?
A lot of guys can't last with Canelo. You're talking about one of the greatest fighters that ever lived at this point. You know, probably a top 15 fighter. I mean, of all time. Let's not forget the name. Let's not forget the names. Austin Trout, Sugar Shane Mosley.
You always say
Austin Trout. I mean, and let's be honest, he got robbed, bro.
Let me rewind it back. Just one key point, because this guy
always say Austin Trout is the first name.
Ready for this?
That's right. I don't think I've seen a guy like him since. I don't know. It's nobody that I can think. I've never seen anybody like him. Big, tall, strong. I mean, I would say Roy Jones Jr., but I think David Morrell Jr. is going to be a heavyweight champion one day.
That's it. That's all. I rest my case, yo. That's it. That's all I gotta say. That's it.
Hey,
He said heavyweight champion.
Exposed.
Hey, I had a bad take. It happens to the best of us. Happens to the best of us,
It
man.
might have been a good take, you goddamn coward.
Hey. Hey.
It's okay. You as a free country, you have a right to switch up. But you said heavyweight champion. I was like, wow. But
You know, and I only thing that was a little fishy, I didn't know if that was a dude from King of Queens or was that Tommy from the Bronx. Was that Doug Heffernan or was that Tommy from the Bronx? I wasn't sure who that was in that video. But I'll say this, man. The reason my mind changed is just because when I looked at Boo Boo Andrade, I looked at probably, in my opinion, one of the most talented guys in boxing. He's probably the Gilly the Kid of boxing, where he never really got his opportunity when he was hot. But had the personality, had everything. And I seen David Benavidez make him quit. So it's tough, man. It's tough. You're gonna be wrong sometime in these fights, but like I said, I had to switch up and I had to go with my man Benavidez, and that's where I'm at with it. But let me ask you guys this real quick. There's a lot of stuff going on in boxing. What do you guys think about possibly never seeing a Shakur versus Tank fight? Are you guys okay with that? The possibility that we may never get that fight?
Absolutely not. I'm not okay.
Salute to
with
my man.
that.
Hold on 1 second. Salute to my man Mike Garner on the 5-piece. We hit our goal today. Thank you guys for the 3 appreciations. Like I said, that's all we need, and we rolling, man. We just want to keep the lights on. That's all, man. But go ahead.
No, most definitely. No, I'm not okay with that. I need to see Shakur get beat to death. I want to see, like you say, with David Morrell, I want to see him get the curls beat off his head. I want to see those buck teeth I want to see one of them get knocked loose, one of his eyes. So I mean it. I really want to see that kid get beat up. So yeah, I need to see that. I'm not okay with that fight not happening. Because I really hate Shakur. I want to see him get beat to death.
Jesus, hate is a strong word, bro. Jesus.
And my smoky voice from Friday, I don't give a fuck. It don't matter to me. I just want to see whoever wants to get in the goddamn ring. I ain't got time to worry about who's scared, who ain't scared, who tucking their tail between the ass crack, and who's a duck and quack. I don't give a damn about none of that. The only thing I give a fuck about who is fighting. They getting in the ring. I'm watching. I don't give a damn. That's all I care about. I'm approaching 25. Gotta leave that nut stuff behind. Enough of that. Went through it. Heard enough of it, seen enough of it in 24 this year. I ain't picking up with that shit this year, man. I ain't picking up with it, bro. Not entertaining none of that coward.
When it comes to that fight, I mean, you can't really be mad about it. It's one of those fights that goes down in history. It's one of those fights that we wanted to see that never happened. We have Aaron Pryor versus Sugar Ray Leonard. You have daggone Riddick Bowe versus Lennox Lewis. You have a lot of these. You have what's the David Benavidez versus Canelo. So you have Winky White versus Floyd. You had daggone Williams versus Floyd. So you have a lot of guys that you wanted to see fight each other, but it never happened. So it just be another one of these fights that go down in history that never happened, that the fans wanted to see happen. So I'm not going to be that bent out of shape if it doesn't happen. It's part of the sport. Yeah. Sometimes you get them, sometimes you don't.
I think I would be bent out of shape a little bit because of the way Shakur has been talking. And I just think, salute to my man Mansa Musa. I think the thing that that's so disappointing is you just realize a lot of the people now in boxing are just talking. They don't necessarily want to do what they say they're gonna do. It's all cap, and I think it's just getting so old when you just got to keep dealing with guys blatantly lying and not making these fights, because we all know how Tank Davis roll. He actually has been sending offers. He just don't say nothing, so the water's murky. But I got to get a brother credit where credit's due. Tank is sending the offers, and he's getting ducked. And the fact that you would let a 5'2" dude, talk the way he's been talking, I'm hoping Keyshawn or Shakur get in there and smack this little bitty dude, because a little dude talk like that, you need to break his mouth. That's how I look at it. What do you say about it, Free? Or Mark, or whoever.
I mean, yeah, you wanna have those people go in there and shut them up, but a lot of times it doesn't go down like that. These guys ain't always built like we say. I don't believe these guys are afraid of each other. They're fighters. That's what they do. But you always have certain individuals that you worry about. You might not be afraid of them beating you up, but you're afraid of losing to them. It's not so much afraid of getting beat up. It's just afraid of losing. Some of these guys don't want to lose, so they avoid certain individuals because they know it's going to be a tough fight and they don't want to lose. So
Shakur is like that Rocky movie where Rocky said, "I'm afraid." Is that what it is?
That's what I was about to say. Are you saying Shakur's a goddamn duck? Say it plainly.
Hey, what I will say is if Shakur goes the rest of his career at 135 and he doesn't try to force that fight with Tank Davis, I gotta say he's a duck, because the fight was there for you to have, and you turned it down because you wanted a multi-fight deal. You can't turn down what you said was the biggest fight in the sport of boxing. Then this came out of your word, out of your mouth. You said this was the biggest fight. You said this was MJ versus LeBron. This was the Super Bowl of boxing, and they gave you a one-fight deal to make that fight, and you said you wanted a multi-fight deal. So that's on you.
This is a problem we seeing now consistently with Shakur. He doesn't want to take risk. And you saw it even with the Haney fight. He didn't want to take that which they said was the highest payday he's ever had in his career. He didn't want to take the 20%. But if he had won that fight and he was undisputed, think about the position he would be in currently. So, and now look at what he just did. I mean, if he wins that Tank fight, think about the position he's in. But I don't know. He's not built like that. It's like you say, he's not one of them guys. Or I'm not even gonna go that deep because he has a family and I don't know. But this is something we see with Shakur. He don't want to take risks.
Go ahead, Crush.
And the fact is that nobody hasn't really kept that going, that he actually did duck Devin Haney. But it don't come up a lot because everybody wants to see the both of them fight Tank Davis more than they want to see these dudes fight each other and whoever else that they need to fight. But it is what it is, man. And like I said, I ain't wasting my time or my cook on that type of energy, man. I ain't doing it. I ain't doing it, bro. I ain't doing it.
It's just tough. It's just tough, man, because I think it's tough, Crush, because it's just we gotta push for the best fights, man. We really had Aaron Pryor get ducked by Sugar Ray Leonard and no one ever said anything about it. I mean, Aaron Pryor had dudes scared of him, and he was a little dude. Only thing that beat Aaron Pryor was dope. And just think if he would have never got on the dope. There's so many guys that could have been so many different things if they wouldn't have gone on dope. I honestly could tell you, Aaron Pryor got a case for probably being one of the most talented fighters that ever touched the ring.
Yeah, but I gotta stop you there. But it's tainted a little bit because they said he cheated. So he cheated. He cheated in the fight versus the guy in his corner. He cheated, and it wasn't only with the drink. Yeah. They said that the padding in the gloves. So
that
we don't know how many times
fight was an even fight going into them rounds. Yeah, going into them late rounds, that Arguello fight was even.
Yeah,
and they gave him that little
they said that
drink.
Drop that asthma medicine. Yeah,
and it wasn't only the drink, guys. Like there's rumors that his gloves were tainted.
Yeah.
So
all that. Yeah.
And see, so this is the hard thing when you talk about that, but no one talks about how Blood Crawford's gloves exploded against David Avocado.
That's not true. People have spoken about it.
I never heard you say it.
Yeah, that was weird. I thought Avanivian's corner should have protested.
Yeah, I mean the man's glove exploded.
A lot of people talked about it.
Yeah,
they was calling at the glove gate, man. Where was you at?
Yeah,
my
that
brother?
was on the corner. So
I was over here. I don't know. I didn't hear about it. You know.
Yeah, it was in the
I didn't hear about
it. Was definitely a rotation on BVO. It was in rotation like these badass songs out here that they keep on putting on the radio. It was in rotation, bro. Everybody got a piece of that went apart.
I'll say the funniest thing about it all is that when you talk about boxing in general, I feel like in a way it's kind of getting watered down. Do you guys think we can survive in 2025 if we still not getting the best fights?
Well, we're going to survive anyway. If we're going to, why wouldn't we survive? We survive every day. Boxing is not going to, the fights we're not getting is not going to stop us from getting up, going to work, and taking care of what we need to take care of. Are they going to survive? Because they the ones going to need to get paid. So they ain't giving us what they want. They gets no money. So it's going up. It ain't on us, bro. You gotta remember, we fans, man. We don't need all this extra stuff on us. That's why I be trying to explain to y'all. We're just fans. So most of this ish, we don't need to be concerned with. We just need to be concerned with the freaking entertainment that's being signed, sealed, and delivered. That's it, man. That's it.
So I got a question for the chat, and this is just something I have been thinking about. So let's say David Benavidez wins this fight. Now, would you guys expect Canelo to put his belts down and go handle the kid, or would you guys expect him to fight Terrence Crawford? And I think it's in March, like they're talking about. What do you guys think?
I expect Canelo to stay within 1,000, probably 1,000,000 miles away from David Morrell. He is a duck. Matter of fact, this coming up on the BVO award show, he's my duck of the year. Undisputedly, he is my duck of the year. Terrible.
Canelo Alvarez, if you're not fighting David, if you're not going to fight David Benavidez, you definitely don't want to get in there with Morrell, who beat David Benavidez. If Morrell is victorious and beat David Benavidez, and it's convincingly, Canelo definitely don't want to get in there, because now he done already seen somebody who comes forward and throw more punches than Canelo Alvarez. So you're going to be another guy that comes forward? No, Canelo's not getting in the ring with no David Morrell. Canelo, he already know he's going to go to sleep. Like, no, that man beat David Benavidez. I'm not getting in the ring with him. I let them guys at 175 handle that.
I think the sad thing about it is we're not realizing Canelo is one of the greatest fighters to ever live. And I think because he's done so much, we don't appreciate him. But I mean, you can put him up there with Sugar Ray Leonard. You can put him up there with Floyd, Oscar, any of the greats. You can put him right there because he's done it.
You cannot put him up there with no Sugar Ray Leonard.
No, you cannot.
He's a 5-division champion.
Old guys.
I don't care.
I cannot allow you to do that. I can't allow you to do that.
Hold on. Go first, Crush. Free, go after Crush, because I didn't hear nothing Crush say. Go Crush, then Free. What are you saying, Crush?
I cannot and I would not allow you to do that. So at this time, I am on duty of Guardians of the Galaxy with you pushing out this BS, my man. Stop comparing these dudes to these guys before them. There's no comparison. You can't compare people who's not in the same freaking era. Stay in your lane, man. Stop comparing these dudes to those dudes. It's not the same era. They need to stop it. If you can't figure out something else to talk about, then you got a creative block, and you just need to sit the fuck back and let that shit throw out, and then come back and try.
We sponsored on this one. We sponsored on this one.
BVO, to add to what Crush is saying, I'm sorry, to add to Crush saying, I'll be quick, is that we're at the end of 2024. So we're looking at what have you done for me lately, and we're looking at what's going to come up in 2025. And what has Canelo done for us lately to be even considered as one of the greatest fighters to ever live? Like, he's not done anything for us as the fans who's asking for these marquee matchups. And if this guy is supposedly the face of boxing, he's done absolutely nothing but duck the marquee guys like Benavidez, who we want to see him fight.
Tommy, you were on record saying Berlinga has a chance. So what are you talking about?
Everybody has a chance.
And he beat Berlinga like he stole something. And then he beat a tough guy, a tough, rough and tough guy in Jaime Mugia. I mean,
he didn't even stop Berlanga.
It doesn't matter. He
got stopped by a guy that got 4 knockouts. Jaime Mugia just got stopped by a guy that had 4 knockouts. He literally just got knocked out cold by a guy that had 4 knockouts.
Didn't Camacho beat the hairline off of Sugar Ray Leonard?
No,
yeah, but he was already
Sugar Ray Leonard. He beat Sugar Ray Leonard when Sugar Ray Leonard was daggone almost 40 years old,
and he had a bad messed up ACL. Leonard was not 100%.
Listen, Munguia got beat by a painter. He got beat by a Frenchman. He got beat up by a painter, a bum.
I don't care. I don't care where he's from. I'm talking about a guy that only had 4 knockouts, and Jaime Mugia is in his prime. Sugar Ray Leonard was out of his prime, and he was at a weight class he's never fought at.
And he got
he moved up from 47 all the way up to light heavyweight.
And the guy,
but that fight was at 168. Tell the whole story.
Yeah, he came back down. He came back down. But the man was almost 40 years old. Was not in his prime.
I'll say this. The fact that they don't give Canelo credit for all the heads on his wall. We're talking about Miguel Cotto, one of the greatest Puerto Ricans. We're talking about Sugar Shane Mosley. We're talking about
41.
Triple G.
36.
It's just Austin Trout. It's just so many guys that he fought. And it's just like, when he beats David Benavidez, I guarantee you it's going to be somebody else you're going to say he should have beat. I mean, he fought. Let me ask you a question. He fought Demetrius Bivol when nobody knew who Demetrius Bivol was, but Canelo knew who he was and fought.
Got beat to death.
Okay.
Canelo did not know who Bivol was. Go ahead, D3.
No, let me ask you a question, BBO.
Yes, sir.
If Buster Douglas beat Mike Tyson when Mike Tyson was reigning supreme, he was the guy that everybody said they were scared to fight. He was that guy, and Buster Douglas beat him. Then, do you give the guy that beat Mike Tyson at the end of his career the same credit that you give Buster Douglas? No, because it was 2 different fighters at that time. Those guys wasn't nowhere near, and Mike Tyson was nowhere near the monster he was when Buster Douglas fought him. So you don't give them the same credit. He gets credit for the names that he beat, but he don't get the same credit as beating those guys in their prime. He don't get the same credit.
Salute to my man Leslie with the 5-piece. He said Puerto Rican Tommy Canelo's remarkable victory came against Billy Joe Saunders. And that's just pure hate because Canelo didn't beat everybody. I mean, what you want him to do? You want him to go to heavyweight? He tried to go to light heavyweight and fight MacBook, and they said no. I mean, the thing about Canelo is you talking about you could almost say you haven't really seen a guy as fearless, and I'll say fearless. He's almost as fearless as Muhammad Ali, man. He fights everybody, anybody. He fought Floyd Mayweather. He was 23 years old. I mean, how many people would do that?
Oh man, he only
it was almost like when Tio fought Lomachenko. He fought him at 23 years old.
Listen, he only fought Floyd Mayweather. Exactly. And Oscar kept on pushing him because Floyd kept on whipping everything in Golden Boy existence. And then he had got this little redhead sensation that everybody was talking about. And Floyd tried to avoid whipping the boy. He avoided whipping out a can, but whipping on him for like 2 years. Then he finally said, you know what? I'm going to give you what you want. So, he can't get no credit for that, bro. Now, listen. Now, far as his resume is star-studded stuff, it's stacked.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it is. But the sad reality on the same side of that coin is that 99% of them was past their damn prime, dog.
Exactly.
If not all of them. And it's the truth, man. So just like D3 said, you can give them credit, but you can't give them that full credit. Now, I would say this before I pass the mic. Is he a all-time? No. But of his era, yes. But he doesn't make of all-time lists in a lifetime. He doesn't make that. But definitely of his era, definitely, but he don't go on that list, and everybody is not supposed to go on that list because of popularity and all that nonsense. That list is a whole different list. You can't mess around with that like you play around with Hall of Fame. It's actually different. You got to really earn that spot to get there. And no, he's not a lifetime all time great. No, he's not.
So let me ask you this, Free, because I know you're a student of the game. When you look at a guy like James Lights Out Tony, what would you say? Tell me, kind of describe James Lights Out Tony in your opinion. How was he to you as a fighter? I think you're on mute.
Hold on. What the hell? Oh damn. What the hell is going on with this joint? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Go ahead.
Okay. No, James Toney was a tough guy to hit. He was a dog. James Toney was gonna make you work for every punch that you land. He's gonna make you work for it. James Toney was one of those guys who was sought to be the best guy until he faced a guy named Roy Jones.
Mm-hmm.
So when he faced Roy Jones, it kind of took some of the steam away from James Toney. But everybody that watched James Toney, they knew that James Toney, that's going to be a tough out. You're not going to be able to just go in there and beat up James Toney. Nobody went in there and just beat up James Toney. Even Roy Jones didn't just beat him up. Roy Jones just made him look stupid. He didn't really beat him up. He just made him look stupid. And James Toney was one of those guys that he's a tough guy. I mean, he beat Evander Holyfield. He beat a lot of
Evander Holyfield was 100 years old when he beat him.
Okay, but you gave Hector Camacho the same credit for beating Sugar Ray
I'm
Leonard.
just pointing it out like you do.
Okay, so I mean, you can't get one man credit and don't get the other man credit.
No,
Exposed, you getting exposed and cooked all over the place, baby. Oh golly.
I mean, like I said, that man came from 160 and went all the way up to heavyweight. The difference between him and Roy Jones is when he went to heavyweight, he stayed at heavyweight. Roy Jones went up there for one fight, came back down, and he should have never came back down because that was the end of Roy Jones as we knew it. When he came back down, he was never the same. But James Toney was a tough individual. I mean, it's a hard out for anybody if they face James Toney. I don't care who you were. It was a hard out for James Toney.
So when I listen to your astute analysis of James Toney, it sounds like you're talking about Canelo Alvarez. I mean, some people would say, I heard the great Max Kellerman say that Canelo Alvarez is the new James Toney, and I agree totally with him. And I think what you just said maximizes and highlights how great Canelo really is, because Canelo is just as good as James Toney, if not a better fighter. So
no.
Salute to my man Free on that. Go ahead.
No, Canelo Alvarez is nowhere near the level of a James Toney, far as boxing ability. Nowhere near the level, far as boxing ability. Now, Canelo Alvarez, he might have had his thing and maneuver his career throughout the ranking system and the divisions to be considered as one of those guys. But James Toney didn't duck anybody. Canelo Alvarez, we can name a few guys that Canelo Alvarez avoided. James Toney didn't duck anybody. James Toney.
Why did we never get the Bernard Hopkins fight then?
Why didn't he? Why didn't he?
So that's a duck, right?
No, why didn't he?
Yeah, that's a duck.
You gotta answer the question. You can't just say why didn't he get it. You gotta answer.
I'm asking you the question.
What's the reason why he didn't get it?
I'm just asking you the question. I'm just the host. You the person to answer.
They didn't make the fight. They didn't make the fight. In order for it to be a duck, it gotta be an opportunity and somebody turned down that opportunity. If ain't nobody get the opportunity and to turn it down, you can't say it's a duck because you wanted the fight. It got to be an opportunity and somebody turned it down in order for it to be a duck. I don't just say because the fight didn't happen it was a duck. Like when it came to Williams and Floyd, I don't call it a duck because there was no opportunity for those guys to fight. That's just a fight that the fans wanted. Now, when it came to the Winky Wright fight, I say it's a duck because he called Winky Wright out and he gave all the stipulation and Winky Wright accepted it and Floyd decided to go a different direction. So you can't give an opportunity and the man accepted it and then you decide to go the opposite direction, a la Virgil Ortiz. You can't give a man an opportunity and then he accepted it and then you say, you know what, I'm gonna go this direction because it's better for me. No, you gave that man an opportunity. You gave him a stipulation. He accepted it. You got to take the fight. You gave it to him. He didn't ask for it. You gave it to him.
So let me ask you this, Puerto Rican Tommy. I know you're a big boxing fan. When you talk about Canelo and what he's done, do you think that one of the Davids has to fight Canelo to kind of cement their legacy? What do you think, Tommy?
I think right now, I think they do in comparison to what the competition is out right now. I think one of them would it would be great. I think Benavidez was the closest one to it. He's undefeated fighter and campaigned as super middleweight, and Canelo, undisputed, kind of holding the titles ransom, and he picks whoever he wants to fight. I think if he would have gave the opportunity to Benavidez, I think that's a legacy fight for Benavidez. Not so much as for Canelo. I think Canelo, he's already set in stone. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame. But yeah, they would need something like that. If not, that's why I think the winner is looking forward to, fighting the winner of Beterbiev and Bivol. I mean, because at this point, I think they're both, obviously the name of the game is to make money, but I think they're looking for legacy as well. And when you talk about legacy, you got to fight the top fighters, in your generation, right? In your weight class during the time that you fight in your prime, right? So for them, I think they need a Canelo or they need a Beterbiev or Bivol or something like that. You know what I'm saying? So I'd say yes.
So speaking of that, and I asked the panel this. So basically what you guys are saying is that even if Canelo beats David Benavidez or Morrell, he still won't get credit, huh?
No, I definitely would give them credit. Either way, if Canelo beats them, obviously you give credit. And if they beat Canelo, you got to give them credit too.
Because some could arguably say that Canelo beat Bivol.
Why would we discredit them?
I mean, because people say arguably that Canelo beat Bivol, but they didn't give it to him.
No, it ain't nobody.
Some people are drunk.
I don't know who you saw that say Canelo beat Bivol, because I ain't seen not a single person say Canelo beat Bivol. I don't know who you saw. I know we watch other people and we watch different platforms and stuff, but I ain't seen a platform yet that say Canelo won that fight against Bivol.
Before the bell rang for the start of the fight, Canelo was already up 4 rounds to zip.
That's unhinged.
The fight didn't even start, and they already gave Canelo 4 rounds.
That's unhinged.
That's crazy.
Can I ask you a question, Tommy? When you say that, kind of
Canelo a draw, Floyd. I mean, we really can't be surprised. DVO will be one of them judges for Canelo. He's one.
I don't think it was a draw.
He's gotten some gifts. I thought he lost versus Lara. I thought Lara won that fight.
Okay, yeah, that's one fight. He did lose.
Triple G won the first fight and the second fight.
I thought that fight.
I thought Triple G won the first fight.
You on record? Ain't you, BBL? Hold up. I'm about to say, ain't you on record for saying Triple G won the first fight?
That's what I just said. I just said that. I thought Triple G won the first fight.
And I said that's what I was about. That's what.
Oh, okay.
I know.
Yeah.
That's what I said. I said I was about to say. Ain't you on record saying Triple G won the first fight? So there's a lot of fights that we could say that Canelo, and some people's eyes, was gifted the fight. There's a few fights. I ain't gonna say a lot. There's a few fights where, in some people's eyes, they feel like Canelo was gifted a fight. And
he stole that Triple G fight though.
I mean, it was a close fight. I don't care which way it went. It was a close fight. I'm not a huge fan of neither one of them. I'm not a huge fan of either one. I was a fan of Canelo Alvarez when I first got back to watching boxing. I was a fan of Canelo Alvarez. Then I saw he was avoiding Jamal and Jamel and Boo Boo, and I was like, nah, I can't be a fan of this dude. He avoiding people. The guys that I was a fan of, they didn't avoid nobody.
I want to ask you guys a question that I don't necessarily hear. Do you guys think Jamel ducked Booba Andre? Is that why that fight didn't happen? What do you guys think? I want y'all's opinion on that.
No, Jamel was the one that had the fight. They had the fight signed. Boo Boo pulled out of that fight a week before the fight happened.
Yeah, because
I don't know, but like Free, I don't know because like from what I heard, like they didn't have like Boo Boo hadn't signed the contract yet a week before the fight.
Man,
So I don't know if anything
Boo Boo
was.
signed everything.
I don't know if
No,
anything
hold
was.
on.
Nah, he went to go sign with Jay-Z's promotion. The Rock, whatever that
I don't know who you was. I don't know who you was listening to.
Okay, well, just
but
tell me.
they absolutely no. Listen, I don't know who you was listening to, but they was absolutely wrong. The fight was signed and sealed. They were a week away from the fight happening. They're not gonna have a whole card made up, and the guy never signed the contract. That fight was signed and sealed. Boo Boo pulled out of the contract because he said his manager stole the money. He wasn't getting the money that he thought he was getting. That's why Boo Boo pulled out of the contract.
But it has something also to do with that Jay-Z promotion. Remember, Jay-Z was promoting and signing fighters and signing athletes. He like signed Robinson Cano in baseball. So I think he signed with Jay-Z for a minute too, and I think that also messed up everything.
Yeah, I just think
his promoter, his manager was stealing the money. He didn't get the money that he initially agreed to. The money that he agreed to when he got the actual contract and saw what the contract was for, he said his manager was stealing money from him, so he pulled out of the fight. And that was 10 days before the fight happened.
However it went down, Boo Boo's decision to sign with Eddie Hearn was disastrous. In terms of for his legacy, he did make a lot of money, so that's good for him. But yeah, he fought nobody until he got beat to death by David Benavidez. That's really his career.
You don't think Luke Keeler was a tough fight?
Who?
He was fighting people like Luke Keeler and all that. He was just fighting like the most random player. He was fighting the most random UK guys, man. I just think
I thought that was a dude from Iowa.
No, I just think in general, man. I just think what you got in boxing, man. It's just really, if I'm being totally, honest, I think really when it comes to Canelo, the end of his career has been a disappointment. I'll say the end of his career has been a disappointment because he really, in some ways, kind of lost the fire, so to speak. And it's almost coming off sometimes as almost cowardice because as soon as Benavidez opened his mouth, he should have beat him right then. Because that fight now was probably about 10 times harder than it was before. Because now Benavidez has improved his defense, his footwork. We actually see, people got to remember, we seen some great things in that Boo Boo fight because me and Free covered that first fight. Then we covered that first fight when he fought Caleb Plant, right, Free? And then when we seen him get in the ring with Boo Boo Android, it was like a whole different fighter. So I mean, I think Canelo messed up. He should have got Benavidez a little bit earlier because now he made a fight that he would have won easy that much harder. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Just the fact that he's the older fighter, I would have to agree. Him waiting is not an advantage for him. But overall, I think him fighting. Oh, I thought I honestly a couple of years ago I thought Canelo would beat Benavidez pretty easily, and I didn't know why he wasn't fighting him. I was pretty confused. So I really don't know. I think it might be Canelo just might really just be afraid of him. I really don't know.
And that's the part that's kind of like surprising, man.
But now after a couple of years, I think he would get beat by Benavidez.
I think it's a little bit of a couple of things. I think the fact of David Benavidez's youth, David Benavidez's rise right now, and Canelo's starting to decline. As far as his prime, he's starting to decline, and I don't think Canelo wants to give up his fan base because if David Benavidez goes out there, who's considered the Mexican monster, the Mexican embrace David Benavidez, if he goes out there and he beat who some people say is the best Mexican of all time, I don't believe that, but some people believe that. If he goes out there and he beat Canelo Alvarez, that fan base now starts to gravitate towards David Benavidez and kind of pulls away from Canelo Alvarez. They look at Canelo Alvarez as the older guy and he's on his way out. And they look at David Benavidez, he has a longer career left in the sport. They think Canelo Alvarez is going to be gone within another year or so. David Benavidez, he's just starting to hit the peak of his prime. So they look at David Benavidez as somebody that we can invest in long term, and Canelo Alvarez is on his way out. So that fan base starts to gravitate over to David Benavidez, and I don't think Canelo wants to lose his fan base because he has a lot of people that supports him. Even though he might not be fighting the guys that we want him to fight, they still going to support Canelo Alvarez. So I don't think he wants to lose that fan base.
So do we look poor?
That's a good point. I never thought about that. You think he really nervous about losing his fan base? I never thought about Free. That's probably a good point. You think they would turn on Canelo? Because they do turn on people pretty easy.
No. Listen, there's plenty of fighters, older fighters that lost in boxing history. It's called passing the torch. It happens, and those guys that do it, they're still beloved. It's a warrior's death. You passing the torch. You know what I'm saying? Canelo's, he's taking the coward's way out. It's a damn shame. But I mean, do we really look poorly upon him? Did we look poorly upon Floyd for not fighting Keith? Keith. And what's the other little boy? Adrian Broner. All them dudes, Spence, he could have maybe fought him. Because they said he got beat to death in sparring. So can we really look down on Canelo?
I don't care about sparring. I care about what happens in the actual ring. So I'm not gonna stop liking the guy because he got beat up in sparring. That don't count. I go by what counts, and I'm not gonna stop liking the guy if I like him. But there are some fans that if you losing to a guy that's on the way up, they say, oh well, I'm gonna start supporting him because he beat him. I'm gonna start supporting him more. Now they might still support Canelo Alvarez, but he might not have that strong pull on the fans that he had once had prior to losing to David Benavidez. Like those guys that come out and pay for every one of Canelo fights, even though he's fighting a subpar opponent, they might not be so eager to go out and pay $100 for that pay-per-view because it's not a worthy opponent. They might not be so eager to go out there and pay it. They might see, okay, David Benavidez fighting a better opponent. I'm going to save my money for the David Benavidez fight.
So, I mean, so basically you're telling me you think Jaime is subpar because he got knocked out by that guy?
I ain't saying nothing about Jaime being subpar because
what I'm saying, you said he fighting. You said you know what I'm saying.
I said Jaime was subpar prior to him getting knocked out by that guy. When he was making the fight with Canelo Alvarez, I said, name the guys that you say are notable on Jaime's resume, and you came up with one guy. One guy.
He just beat the Miracle Man. Yeah, that was it.
There was only one guy and he ain't beat nobody of note at 168 that said, you know what, he deserved that fight over David Benavidez. Now he might have fought a guy and said, you know what, I mean, Canelo could give him a shot or whatever, but not over David Benavidez. Not over David Benavidez. Might be after David Benavidez, but not over.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess the thing that's so crazy about this fight is I'm excited because usually we don't get fights like this when they both in their prime. I guess now this is a 50-50 fight. And I'm just wondering, you think we're gonna get a good card for this fight? I haven't heard much about the card. Has anybody heard anything about the card?
I think this is the card that Antoine and El Rayo supposed to be on. And it was somebody else. They said
Fulton is fighting Figueroa.
Yeah, Brandon Figueroa, cool boy.
That's a rematch. It's a bigger weight. Right?
Yeah, but he gonna stop Fulton though. That's not going to be a good one.
Yeah, Fulton didn't look too great his last fight, but maybe that's what he needed. But yeah, right now I would favor Figueroa over Fulton. Isaac Cruz is fighting Angel Fierro, and
that's a good one.
Alejandro Ramos Jr. is fighting Jason Rosario.
You know a fight I always wanted to see, and Marky Dan was the first one to bring it up. I always want to see Morrell versus Mbili. How do you see that playing out? I think Morrell will probably stop Mbili though. What do you guys think?
I think it's gonna be a tough fight because Mbili likes to come forward and throw a lot of shots, similar to David Benavidez. I think Mbili got a little bit more movement than David Benavidez, but he likes to come in and work the body because he's a shorter fighter compared to those guys. He's shorter, so he likes to work the body. He's going to throw big punches, but he's hoping that one of those big punches gets you out of there. Yeah. But with a guy like David Morrell, who's more rangier, I don't see him lasting too long against David Morrell, just coming forward, throwing big shots. I don't see him lasting too long.
Yeah, but I think that's why he got a shot, because I think he could land something and he can hurt either guy. But I think he's tailor-made to get countered by either one of those. But he's strong and he's got some pop. But defensively, he's not that good defensively. I've seen him get hit and wobbled a couple of times already. So,
Yeah, that's why I said I don't think he lasts that long with David Morrell, because he just comes in and he has a high motor. He comes in and he throws a lot of shots, and he hoping one of those shots hurts you or whatever. But when you're dealing with somebody like a David Morrell and you're not able to get to the spot that you want to get to, and you just getting hit as you trying to get there, at some point your body gonna say, okay, you know what, we had enough. You tried, and this man just keep hitting you. We checking out. You might still want to go, but we checking out. It's over for us.
My only thing about Mbili is I just worry about maybe he got a little bit too much muscle, man, because it looked like he be getting gassed towards the end of them fights. Have you guys noticed that about him? Because he got a good motor, but sometimes he'll slow down on you.
I'm gonna tell you, to be honest with you, I only seen him fight like 2 times, so I haven't really checked out his gas tank like that. And the 2 fights that I seen him fight, he actually got the stoppage, so I wasn't able to really check out his gas tank. But I can see him getting gas because, like I said, when you pack on muscle, the one thing that having a lot of muscle is you got to have a lot of oxygen goes to those muscles. So as the fight goes on, you start to wear down because you gasping for air because those muscles need that oxygen.
That's a good point. You said the muscles need that oxygen. But I put like this.
Fight,
go ahead.
His last fight against Derevyanchenko. I mean, Derevyanchenko's a tough veteran who's been competed with the best and been competitive with the best. But he was a one-arm fighter for about half the fight, and Mbili couldn't find a way to get him out of there. He was there for the take it, and so that concerns me. And that he looked like the gas tank went out in that fight as well. So that kind of concerns me when he's fighting when he steps up and fights one of these guys, Morrell or Benavidez. I don't know. I have a feeling they're going to set Mbili up to fight the other French guy that just beat Munguia now. So,
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I think he might overwhelm the Frenchman, but the Frenchman look like he has some boxing ability.
Yeah, he's undefeated as well. So I mean, and they both. They're both from the same country. They're countrymen. So, BVO popped out for a minute. I don't know where he's at. So, when he comes back, he'll take over. There he goes. I don't know what happened. Go ahead, BVO. Switch it up. I don't know what happened.
No, I just went off. But I think the thing that's so funny about these whole fights, man, is I feel like a lot of these divisions are top heavy. You guys feel like that as well? Except 54, most of the divisions are really top heavy. You think that's good or bad for the sport, Crush?
Bad.
Go ahead, Crush.
No, go ahead. Bad. I wasn't gonna go into detail.
I know. I'm about to step away for a second. Go ahead. I'm about to step away for a second.
The top heavy is bad because you need nothing in the middle and then the bottom. So you need it to be fully balanced, fully up and down. So by being so top heavy, it takes away from what the sport can have. So yeah, it's not good.
What would you say on that, Tommy or Free or Mark? What would you say about the sport being at 754? It really feel like it's really top heavy. What do you guys say about that?
I agree with what Crush is saying. I think it's bad, especially if the top heavy guys are not fighting each other. I mean, we're lucky that this year and now the upcoming year we got Beterbiev and Bivol, right? Obviously the two best guys in that division. And now we got the maybe the 3 and 4 guy in the division as they move up. Morrell's fighting Benavidez. So you see that in only a few divisions, because it's not 154 is deep. But there's other divisions that are pretty deep too. I think 140, there's a lot of talent. 140, I think 135 is a lot of talent as well. But to answer your question, yeah, I do think it's bad for the sport. Especially if if the top guys are not fighting each other.
I don't think it's necessarily bad. Is if like say the division is top heavy. But as you move up in the division, the opponents start to get tougher and tougher. It's supposed to be tough at the top. It's supposed to be tough at the top. So I'm not necessarily bad because it kind of builds the fighter a little better when the division is heavy at the top. But as you move forward, the opponents get tougher. Now, if it's just a bunch of weak individuals in between the top and the bottom, then yeah, that's bad for the sport because you're not testing yourself as you move up in the ranking system. But as you move up, if the opponents get tougher as you move up, and then you get to the top, is that's where all the best guys are at. That's the way it's supposed to be. But if it's just the best guys and then everybody else, then that's a problem.
So then what about the cruiserweight division? That division is. The top two guys,
the
Opetaia and what?
That's the problem because the cruiserweight, it's just two guys. That's it. It's just two guys.
Yeah. And I don't think Ramirez is that good.
135, it's top heavy, but there's also a lot of good guys in between the bottom and the top. There's a lot of good guys between the bottom and the top. The same thing you could say with I think 168 is a lot of good guys in between the top and the bottom. Maybe 130 is the same way, and maybe 126 is the same way. But I don't look at
126 is stacked, I think.
And 140 is that same way too. 140 is a lot of guys that's on your way up. There's a lot of tough guys on your way up. But 147, I don't think it's like that. I think 147 is mainly just top heavy. Is the top guys and then everybody else.
Yeah, that and cruiserweight. Cruiserweight only because you have a guy like Ramirez, who I don't think is that good, but he moved up. You saw what happened. When he did fight somebody good, he got outclassed 12 zip. So.
So what do you guys think about this guy?
So I'm gonna keep this real short and sweet with y'all boys out there. I see y'all trying to make noise or whatever, and everybody trying to keep me out the loop. So I just want to be known. I've been quiet for too long. I understand. I'm slipping on my pimping, but now it's time to snap back right and get back right. You feel me? So 2025 is my year. I got me a whole hit list marked down. I can see the target, but I'm starting off with that boy Boots out there in Philly. I'm finna go ahead and get that done with. I gotta make that happen before he move up to 154. After that, I see T.O. Hill playing games. He'll think about going up to 147. If you think about doing it, I'm right here. If you want to fight at 140, we both WBO. I can cut down to 140 with you. Trust me, it's not a problem at all. And that's also for all the other 140-pound champions. Anybody can get it for real. I just want to let that be known. Like I said, I've been quiet for too long. That's my mistake. But I'm tightening up, and now it's time to take over this whole boxing game. You dig?
Leave your whole basket.
So I don't know. I think my man Brian Norman Jr. has an opportunity to really take over the 147-pound division, because we know that if T.O. was able to get this Boots fight, he probably might stop him. What do you guys think about that?
Wait, you said you think T.O. would stop Boots?
I think so. What about you?
I don't think so. I think it's a good fight. I think T.O. will be up for the fight. I think it's skill versus. I think I would favor Boots. Those are two athletic guys. Boots is very athletic as well. Based from his athletic family. His family is all nothing but athletes and fighters. So I think that's a good fight, but I don't see Tio stopping Boots. But I think it's a good competitive fight. I think Tio has a better chance than a lot of people think. I don't think it's going to be a wash like a lot of people think that Boots will wash Tio, but I think it'll be very competitive. I think Tio will be up for the fight, but I would still favor Boots, and I can't see Tio stopping Boots.
I don't see Tio stopping nobody at 47. He ain't stopped nobody at 40. I don't see him stopping nobody at 47.
He said Norman Jr. is a tough kid, but he can but hope he can secure a fight. I think Brian Norman Jr. really is a number one welterweight. And I don't really see anybody out there that can beat him at welterweight. I mean, maybe I think what's the guy? Stanionis might be his toughest fight, but Boots, we all seen Boots get hit a lot, man. I think he'll put Boots on his pockets, man. What do you guys think?
I don't know. I think Boots has proved he's got a chin. He took a lot of punches in the Karen fight, and I've seen Boots get hit before. He even got. I mean, I thought he got hit solid, even though he got a first round knockout against what's the kid's name? Thomas Delorme. Delorme caught him with a crazy right hand, and he ate it. And Delorme's got some pop. So I've seen Boots get hit before in other fights. He's got to work on his defense, and I've been saying that for a while. But he showed he's got a good chin.
I also seen Brian Norman get hit a lot as well. So
yes, that's true.
And can Brian Norman stand up to Jerron Boots in it? I mean, that remains to be seen. So it's not like Brian Norman got crazy defense like that where he doesn't get hit. Because I've seen him get hit plenty of times in his fights. There was a couple of fights where I thought Brian Norman was about to be out of there. So I mean,
I thought he was about to be out of there.
I did. I think it was his maybe his second or third fight at 47, and he got hit. He was on a ropes and he was taking some big shots. I was like, hold up,
it was the fight before Santalan.
Yeah,
it was a weird interaction with him and his coach, right? Where
I was like, hold up, is Brian Norman gonna get out of there? But
the only reason he got out of there is because it was a headbutt and it got stopped in the third round.
Yeah,
and it was a no contest.
Yeah, I mean, but it's not like I said. It's not like Brian Norman got crazy defense and he's not going to get hit from Jerron Boots. It's a matter of will he be able to stand up to Jerron Boots, because I think Jerron is quicker than him. I think Jerron is more rangier than him, and I think Jerron is a better athlete. As far as athlete, I think Jerron is a better athlete, and I think Jerron's boxing ability is better. Now, I'm not saying that Brian Norman is a bum by no means. As I'm saying, he's a bum. I just think Jerron Ennis is a better boxer than he is. Now, but we can believe what we want to believe. It got to play out in the ring. But I'm not saying Brian. If I had to bet on it, I'm betting on Jerron. I'm not betting on Brian. I haven't seen enough for Brian to say, you know what, he's better than Jerron Ennis. He's going to stop Jerron Ennis, or he's going to beat Jerron Ennis. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen that fight from Brian Norman that got me picking him over Boots.
I think the funny thing about Brian Norman, he's like a guy trying to bring like a rap, thing. He's like a Chino XL. He's really good, but people just don't know him just yet. And rest in peace, Chino XL. I don't know if people remember Chino XL. He was a wordsmith, and I think the way that Brian Norman fights, him taking punches, okay, cool. That might not be the best idea, but man, he coming forward, stopping dudes, and I think he wasn't expected to even win that fight that he fought, and he became champion
in his last 5 fights. BVO.
You said what?
He stopped one dude in his last 5 fights.
You talking about in the championship fight he stopped him?
Okay, yeah,
No,
okay, well,
he stopped one dude in his last 5 fights, because you said he'd be coming forward and stopping dudes. He stopped one dude in the last 5 fights. That interim belt was part of the last 5 fights. Because that's what it was. It was an interim belt. He got promoted to the WBO champion because Bud dropped his belt. But the title that was on the line was the interim title. It wasn't the WBO.
Hold on. We got real prison talk with Tommy talking about, and this is my brother. Bernard is my guy. He said, Jaleel Hatchett beats, but Jaleel Hackett beats Brian Norman Jr. Like, get out of here. Jaleel can't beat no Brian Norman Jr. You crazy?
I don't know.
He meant senior. I think he meant senior.
Oh yeah,
I don't think that. I think Brian Norman's going to beat him. Yeah, Hackett against Brian Norman Senior.
Jaleel Hackett.
Yeah.
No,
not Jaleel Hackett. You're not talking about Jaleel Hackett.
Greg Hackett. He's talking about Greg.
Yeah, he's talking about
Greg Hackett. Okay,
yeah,
I don't know why I'm
Norman
thinking.
Senior.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. My
Yeah,
bad.
that was a typo. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Greg Hackett going to bed. He used to go to bed though. So
I didn't know Greg Hackett was that small. I didn't know he was that daggone short.
He 5'6".
No, I did not know that because every time I see him do an interview, he's always sitting down. I didn't know he was that short till I saw him after his fight, and he was walking back through the crowd, and I'm like, hold up, this dude a midget. I'm like, he's short.
Little person free.
He's short.
You talking reckless.
Yeah, he's petite for sure. He's a petite little guy, but that's probably why he be getting beat up.
He ain't petite at all. He ain't petite at all. He's just a little guy.
That's what they call a little guy, petite.
Nah. They call little guys that's overweight, little overweight guys. He ain't petite at all.
He like to eat for sure. That's for sure. He like to eat. Cause I heard he was fighting at 200 pounds. Like he about to fight B. Norman Sr. at 200 pounds, dog. He about to go to bed.
That's crazy.
Cause anybody know, just like Brian Norman Jr. said, you know, B Senior got about 30 pounds ahead too. So you already know what's coming, man. That head's like, coming down.
He got like 23 losses and 3 wins.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's only been stopped twice.
I mean, the dude, he beat like a social media guy. He beat the social media guy up, but the dude, like, every time I seen him in the ring, he was getting stretched. Pause. I mean, he was getting beat up.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, my bad. Let me get the thing going. You know, y'all brothers can't say nothing.
Golly, man.
This is a sick Negro. This is a sick Negro.
That bro gets stretched. Whoa.
we know where BBO be at on the.
Oh, here we go.
No did it. I said no did it. I say no did it. No
did it. Yo, rough, man. Yo, rough. But you know, something I wanted to ask you guys something on more of a serious note. I always like to end the show with a serious last topic. There has been a rash of gun violence that I've seen in Cleveland, in Chicago, in Detroit. I'm just wanting to ask you guys a question. When you hear about all this people with these weapons violence, does it kind of worry you guys about the future when you're seeing so many young kids, you know, passing away from violent crimes?
Yeah, I mean, it bothers you, and it makes you have to talk to your kids a little bit more and make sure that they understand situations don't look right. It's time for you to get up out of there. When you have that other voice in your head saying it's time to leave, you need to listen to it, because a lot of times that's what happens. People have that other voice in their head say, hey, it's time for you to go, and they don't leave. They don't listen to that voice, and they stick around, and then that's usually something bad happens. So it's bad, but it ain't gonna get better. It ain't gonna get better, especially with the way the gun laws is now. They're making it where everybody can have a weapon. So a lot of times you have some of these, I hate to say it, you have some of these criminals go out here and get the license the legal way, but they use it for bad intentions. So it ain't gonna get better.
Yeah. What you got on it, Tommy?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
We basically were talking about how we're seeing so much weapons violence with these young kids. I was saying, is that concern you at all, seeing so many young kids, you know, passing away from, you know, being, getting weaponed up. Does that kind of worry you at all?
Yeah, it definitely worries me. It's worried me all my life. And then, the older I get, and as time moves on, it's more and more disrespect, with the younger crowd than it used to be. Back in the day, like in the 80s and early 90s, it wasn't like that. Now it's there's no respect at all, and these kids is wilding. I mean, now over here they got they got them on like the scooters and the little bikes and stuff, and they go on here doing things too, and it's a crazy place, and it's a crazy world we live in. And you're talking about a time where technology is advanced, and you can actually catch a lot of these guys on camera. They have cameras at every corner, and they get the technology, see the cameras from people's front porches and stuff like that. It's hard to get away with these crimes, but these kids don't care, man. It's crazy, man. So of course I worry about it every day.
Yeah.
In the dirty Bronx, as you would say, BBO.
But
Not only that, man, they just had where was it, in Minnesota? They just had another school shooting with one of those kids. That's something else that I look at, but that's not something that really impacts me down here. But there is gun violence. Just the other day they had a shooting where a 7-year-old got shot by some chicken joint down there in the West. But it doesn't really impact me that much. I stay away from that shit.
Yeah, I'm more or less the reason I even bring this kind of stuff up is because I think a lot of kids are making these decisions, man, that can cost them 50 years. 8 seconds of anger can cost people 50 years of their life. I guess I get so nervous when you see such a lack of emotional intelligence. Does that bother you at all, Crush, seeing so many young men and women not have emotional intelligence? I think my man Crush fell asleep. Anybody have anything on that?
No, I mean, it just, it ain't really too much you can say except for you gotta tell your kids on a daily basis, hey, keep your head on a swivel. Things don't look right. You gotta go the opposite direction. I mean, the only thing you can do is just talk to your kids and make sure they understand the danger that's out here, because and you gotta understand the danger that's out here, because I'm in the industry where I deal with a lot of criminals. So I keep my head on a swivel. My wife is in the same industry. We keep our head on a swivel. So you gotta understand that a lot of these guys don't care. They don't value life. A lot of these guys don't value life, and they don't value nobody else's life. So when you're dealing with that type of situation, when guys don't value life and they don't value nobody else's life, you gotta understand you gotta know when to pick your battles. All battles ain't good battles to fight. Sometimes you gotta be the coward and say, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and walk away.
Yeah. And in your industry, let me ask you this. Have you seen the guys that are doing this thing get younger and younger, or is that not true? I've been reading a lot of that in the Wall Street Journal.
I'm not gonna say it's getting younger and younger, because it's always been young kids doing it. It's starting to be more of a trend of young kids doing it. At first, it was a few young kids out here, because back when I was coming up, we had young kids that was doing the same thing, but it wasn't so many of them. Now it's starting to be a trend of young kids doing it, because I like I said, my cousin, he had to go to New York and finish his childhood in New York, because he got into a situation where he shouldn't have been in, and he was only I want to say like 13, maybe 14 years old, and but he'd been in the game since he was 10 years old. He was a lookout guy for since he was 10 years old. So and he's always carried a gun with him. But it's always been young kids. It's just starting to be more of a trend for young kids to do it. So I'm not gonna say it's getting younger and younger. It's starting to be more kids do it instead of just a few kids doing it. It's starting to be more kids to do it.
I guess it just kind of worries me, man, because these young kids, man, I feel like they're not giving themselves a chance, and it's just sad to see it. That's just my humble opinion, man. But It's just I don't know. When I was younger, I don't remember having to worry about where I was going. I mean, now kids, man, they can't go nowhere without somebody, you know, trying to cause them serious harm. It's just kind of, I guess for me, it's just really sad to see that, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because it's just unnecessary, man. That's my whole thing. It's so unnecessary, man.
That's why I come on these YouTube streets, and when you see me in person, like Tommy see me in person, Crush see me in person, I'm the same person that you see on YouTube. I'm the same person in real life. I crack jokes. I like to have fun because you never know when it's going to be your last day on this earth. So I'd rather spend my last days laughing and having fun than spend my last day mad at somebody. I'm not going to sit here and be walking around mad at somebody when I could be out here having fun. And sometimes, like I said, sometimes you never know what somebody's going through. So for me to make somebody laugh and smile, they might be having a bad day or whatever. But if I can make them laugh and smile and they ease up the stress that they got going on, then I did my good deed for the day.
I got one last question for everybody before we get out of here. I'm gonna start with Tommy. Tommy, what is your favorite memory of your parents?
Oh man, it's tough. There's so many memories, and you know, I don't. when you talk about my parents, you talk about, you know, my aunts and my uncles and stuff.
Yeah, I'm talking about your aunt. Yeah.
Damn, favorite memory. Jesus, it's hard. It's hard to pick one, bro.
Just give me one, Puerto Rico.
I don't know. Pass it to the next one. Let me think about it.
Go ahead, mark you down. Give me your favorite memory of your parents, man.
My favorite memory was, I'd have to say, when I was 3 years old, my whole family, me, my sister, my half sister, my father, and my mom, we all went to Disney World. So yeah, that was pretty cool. Like that. That's the only time I can remember my whole family being together.
That's a beautiful thing. What about you, Free?
My favorite memory is always been when the family got together. Like it was like I told you, I think it was yesterday we was talking about it. My family is very competitive, and every time we have a get together, we always play spades. And so my father and my mother was always a good spade player. They was always partners. They was a good spade player. So my godmother and my godfather was playing against my mother and my father, and they count in their books. And my father, he's a comedian. He roasts anybody. So my godmother is taking her time trying to count her books, and her husband was like, "How many books you got?" And she was sitting there counting. My father said, "Come on, Doc Knuckles, come on, get the books together." I laughed so hard. No, my father roasts anybody. It don't matter who it is. He don't care who you are. He's going to roast you. So, I mean, my father and my mother, the best times is when we sitting around playing cards, because it's always something funny that's going to happen. It's always going to be something funny happen.
I'll go and then we'll let the Puerto Rican Tommy go last. But one of my favorite memories with my dad was one time. This is kind of goofy. We went to a barbershop in the hood, and you know, my dad being my dad, he, you know, it's a bunch of thug dudes that we don't know in there. So my dad say, I'm gonna go in here and watch me control the room. And I remember my dad was in there. We was in there talking. So my dad ended up going to the store, coming back with like a 24 pack. So my dad come back, and you know how dudes in the hood be at the barbershop. I'm sure a lot of us know how it is to be in the inner city. You know, them cats was like, you know, fish begging for a beer. So he gave everybody a beer just because, you know, he wasn't tripping. And they just got to talking about prison stories. And I never forget, one guy was talking about, yeah, man, when I go to jail, man, I gotta keep going, man. I got stuff to I can't just give up doing the stuff I do. And I never forget my dad saying the most pause crap in the world. He was like, I've been having sex for 30 years. You think if I go to prison for life, it stops? And I remember he was joking though. Listen, he was joking, but it's the funny thing. He was joking, but he was just, you know, he was just being a jerk, trying to sound cool. And I'll never forget, there was a dude in the barber chair I mean, his face turned white. It was like a Japanese cartoon. Dude, I saw my dad. I said, "Man, that dude was scared to death," and it was so funny because my dad was joking. But you should have heard all these thug dudes. They're talking about, yeah. I'm not gonna stop messing around. If I go to jail for life. And my dad took me outside and said this, man. Hold on, what's that? I got my bad Thomas still here. And my dad pulled me outside and said, "You know what, son? I took you there to show you that. You know what? It don't matter who you are. These thug dudes are idiots. They'll do whatever they're told for a beer." And I remember as a kid thinking, "Wow, you right, Dad." And I just never forget them dudes talking about what they would do to other guys in jail if they wasn't there for life. And seeing the one dude squirm in the chair while he's getting his hair cut. But go ahead, Thomas Hill's in the house.
Stupid as a butt. Thomas Hill, stupid as
What he said?
What he said? I don't.
Thomas Hill gonna say, "I'm in the back. Stop with your dad's sex story. Let me."
Hey, yo, you sick, man. Whoa, you sick, man. You sick. But that was a funny story, man. And the reason I had so much fun because I thought my dad was so cool because he was like controlling the room in the barbershop, and he just was telling me like, no matter what you think, man, these dudes in the hood is not cool, bro. These dudes will do anything for a beer. But go ahead, Tom. Go ahead, Puerto Rican Tom. I know you got something. Yeah, Puerto Rican Tom. Yeah. Go ahead, give us your thing real quick, Puerto Rican Tommy.
I mean, it's a few of them, and I'll just give you a couple. One is, during the holidays, since we're in the holidays, before the holidays, usually the week of Christmas, my aunts would make pasteles from scratch. And that's like it's a Beautiful. Spanish tradition. Most Puerto Ricans do. I don't know if you ever ate pasteles before. But,
of course I have, man.
Yeah, so they make them from scratch. To take all night to 2:00 in the morning from scratch and just make a whole bunch of them. And everybody kind of got like a little task and to mixing it up and slicing things up and stuff like that. Didn't really learn much about it until I got older. But as a kid, they would do that, every Christmas, for the New Year's, you know what I'm saying, and Christmas. So that, and my uncle used to always take me and my brothers fishing, from time to time. So those were good memories to go out and fish, even in the dirty Bronx, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I mean, those are a couple things. And then, obviously since I didn't have, my mom, my dad in my life as much as they should have been, and my aunts, my uncles pretty much were the ones that raised me, my wedding day, you know what I'm saying? Because, still 23 years strong, still going with the pain in the neck behind me. And, and pretty much a lot of people in my family, they've done their second wife, second husband, you know what I'm saying? So I'm pretty much the one that really made it and did the opposite of what my parents did. So, those
and that's dope, man. That's dope, man. To have you first, man. That's dope.
Yeah, so.
But I'm gonna ask you, Thomas. So this is a question. I mean, I asked everybody when you gave me that goofball response about that stupid story with my dad. But what was your favorite memory of your parents, Thomas Hill?
For me, man, it was actually going to the baseball. I mean, my mom was a really good ball player, bro. She played the heck out of baseball, man. So she used to take like Saturdays the whole weekend, man, because they always play tournament style. So we would always go to the ballpark, man. And used to get some of them dang what they used to call those sodas back in the day.
Chili Willies?
Nah, bro, but that's probably what you was drinking on, bro. I don't know. I forgot what you was Springfield. Springfield. We used to get the Springfield, and back then it was the Tiki Punch with Springfield. Springfield used to make some really good sodas. So this park used to sell like hot dogs, nachos, and things like that. But they would do some real nice hot dogs, like the kind you go and get down there from the stadiums when you go to like events, the ones that got the grilled onions and bell peppers and things like that, man. So we used to go there and we used to chill, watch her play ball. So that was cool because like she was one of the better players, and like I guess I was the kid, I was the mascot of the team, and got treated like such, man. You know, they always love to see me and whatnot. Go out there, throw some balls to them, and things of that nature. So it was cool watching them engage in like sport activities and support one another.
Yeah, that's a dope story. The reason I brought that up is because sometimes, man, we forget as we become adults about those great times we had with our children, man. Because I was doing something, and I was just thinking about, like my grandma used to be always cooking, and I remember one time my aunt was in there washing the greens, and like a grasshopper popped out, and
we talking whole family.
Say it again.
Talking whole family. If we talking whole family.
Well, my grandma was more like my mom, so that's why I said my grandma. She kind of was more like a mom. Yeah, she did kind of like mom duties. Yeah, she kind of did because I was one of those people who was blessed when I was born. My grandma was turning 40, and she was like, you know what, this gonna be like my second son, and she raised me just like that. But I remember when somebody the grasshopper had popped out, and my grandma said, "You goofball! Why don't you kill it and stop screaming? I'm trying to sleep." I just remember like little stuff like that, man.
Grasshopper, bro?
Say it again.
She wanted you to take out the grasshopper, though.
No, my aunt was cleaning some greens and the grasshopper popped up out of there.
Oh, got you.
Yeah, this is before this is like back when you can get greens from like the farms and stuff. Now you really can't do that as much. But like you used to go to like this farm and get like 4 or 5 cases of greens for like $5-6. It's crazy. I don't know. I'm gonna ask you guys this: have you guys ever noticed how much more stuff costs? How much more stuff costs than it did back in the day?
Oh yeah, inflation is a beast nowadays, man.
I mean, I looked at say you get like a can of pop. I'm used to a can of pop being 50 cents. It's like $1 now.
You say a can of soda?
Yeah, like a can. A can of soda. It's like $1 now. It's like, dang.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, because you get a 20-ounce bottle, you paying like $2.50, $2.75.
Yeah.
I'll tell you. I ain't gonna lie.
Go ahead.
You tell us about it.
Go ahead.
Tell us. I was just gonna say, like, when it came to like the family gatherings, we used to do it big for like holidays, man. So it would be a bunch of us at the house. And I'm talking about all like I had like a whole lot of aunts and uncles, and they had a whole lot of children. So it was a bunch of, it'd be like 50 folks up in the house, man. And the little house in Compton would have all this dang house packed. And shoot, my grandma had a piano. Every now and again, she'd play the bad boy whenever she got in the See, my aunt, the coldest thing about my grandma was that she ain't had no grill, but she could eat steak like nobody's business. Well, she would gum the heck out of steak, man, and eat that bad boy. I don't know how she did. She must have had like a couple of nubs still remaining, but she would tear that steak up. And that used to always be like something I would wonder, how the heck she ever do that? Because hell, it would be hard for me to chew that bad boy with teeth. She was over there tearing it up with gums. And when she would eat, she would make noises. She'd be like, I guess that's because she had no teeth, bro, and it just made noises to chew that bad boy. But he's tripping off that, man. That was funny. But yeah, go ahead, man.
No, I was saying because the funny thing about life, man, as you get older, you kind of realize more and more, like, you know what, time is really flying, man. Like, time is really flying.
Tell me about it, man. It just seemed like it was the new year, just not too long ago. Now we coming to another new year, bro. And how fast it flew. Like you said, it just seems like it's going at quantum speed now.
Yeah.
But what's up with you guys? What were you guys talking about besides that?
We were talking about David versus David. Who would win? So I'll ask you these questions before we get out of here. So when you see David versus David, who you see winning that fight?
Honestly, bro, like, I think that's a tale of two tales. I think that you got experience and boxing savvy in David Benavidez, and you got talent and athletic gifts in David Morrell. Now, we done a lot of breakdown on like what one fighter does and what the other fighter doesn't do. And with all our breakdowns, we have seen over at the Casual Corners that Morrell doesn't have the boxing savvy that David Benavidez does have. He doesn't continue to be busy and punch the vacancy like David Benavidez does. And on top of that, Benavidez is pretty quick with the punches and the rate in which he throws. And he doesn't often allow you to clinch him. So, you know, conventional wisdom would lean you towards David Benavidez with his experience, with his volume, his pressure, and his ability to punch to where you're not defending and use his body to work inside and out. This is where I have a problem. I have a problem because we also did 3 other breakdowns, and I was the only one in these breakdowns who went the opposite way. We had the breakdown with Lemos and Hitchens. Everybody saw what Hitchens did very well and what Lemos didn't do well, and they thought that it would be a romp for Hitchens. And I was like, nah, bro, this dude he bring a little bit more than what you can measure on the metrics as far as what is done right, how efficient he looks, and this, and that. He just has something about him that's going to give my man pressure, and it's going to be a tough fight. Also, we did the fight between what's the dude that fought Kasha Zhu son, Tim Zhu was him.
Baccarat.
Baccarat, yeah. I did that, and I was like, yo, I know Zhu looked like he's technically sound and superior, and he does a lot of stuff, but this Russian dude just come from a different place, and over there, man, nothing that he's gonna ever see in that ring is gonna mirror what he done saw in real life, and he gonna be ready for everything, and he be hitting like a ton of bricks. And I forgot the other fight. The other fight was another well-known fight where it didn't go the way that many others believed it to go. So I think that, man, this fight is going to be a very hotly contested fight. One that I see maybe Morrell getting pushed to the brink and seeing where he really truly lies. If he cannot get Benavidez to back up, then it's going to be a long night for him. But however, if he can give him something to think about other than the fact that, you know what, I'm going to hit you where you're not expected, I think that Morrell going to hit him with something and give him that ooh-ah factor. So while I will say that I favor Morrell just because I like what he can do with his hands, it will be a tough out, but I'm going to go with Morrell. I'm picking Morrell with the upset.
I can see that. I can see that happening. But I think Benavidez is really going to put too much pressure on him and get him out of there. I think so. I think he'll get him out of there.
So this is why I say Morrell, because I believe Morrell has the ability to control that outside. He doesn't fight very well on the inside, so if he can control that outside, if he can do what Kyron Davis was able to do against Benavidez when he was on the outside, then it should be very beneficial to him going forward in the later rounds. However, Benavidez is tough, and he don't always let you do what you want to do. And if it becomes a fight where he's dictating tempo, then yeah, it's gonna be a long night for Morrell.
I just think Morrell is just in over his head. This is way too hard a fight to take, man.
I think Benavidez is gonna get beat within an inch of his life.
Oh, wow. That's Marky Dan?
Yeah.
Yes, Thomas. Yes. So
he back home talking crazy.
I speak.
No, Marky Dan usually be kind of close on point, man. I don't know if that's gonna happen, bro, because Benavidez, as much as I hate to admit, dog, because he just don't look the part. When he in that ring, bro, his acumen and his output is just spectacular. And then on top of that, while he looked like a skinny fat kid, you know, he's showed tremendous stamina and
now
pressure in the fight. Yeah, not at 175. But at 175, I think that he started off phenomenal in that fight. He only struggled to me the last 4 rounds. I thought he dominated everything.
The last 6.
The 6? You think it was the last 6?
To
well,
me,
if it's that,
in my opinion.
But I mean, at the same time, Morrell didn't look good in his first outing there as well too. While he didn't struggle, he struggled to do anything that wasn't like a pattern, and I think he
But
can't
I don't
get
think
into a.
he lost rounds like that. Excuse me, Thomas Hill. I don't think it was like that close a fight where we was like, or excuse me, where I thought it could have been a draw. Because honestly, I thought that Gothic fight could have been a draw. That's my
You thought
honest
that was a
opinion.
draw? Okay,
Yeah, I thought
I
Benavidez
respect
might have
that.
lost the last 5 or 6 rounds of that fight. That's
I know he for
honestly
sure
how I
lost the
feel.
4. The last 4 for sure. It wasn't, to me, it wasn't even close. I thought for sure the last 4 was guys. But
I didn't think that was his best fight. Let me just say that.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a good fight for sure. I think it's gonna be a good fight for sure.
Yeah.
Who wins? I mean, it depends on who comes out there and impose their will. I think
agree.
both of these guys got the skill to beat each other. I'm just going with David Morrell because I think he's the more athletic and the more gifted fighter. I think David Benavidez is more so. He got boxing ability. I'm not gonna say David Benavidez don't have boxing ability, but I think he's more so off of heart and determination. That's the reason why he usually prevail in his fights more so than skill.
Leo.
That's Crush. Who said yo?
That's me.
Oh, that's Prize?
Thomas said he got to bounce. Okay.
Oh man. Oh, shout out my main man Tommy from the Bronx, dog. Hey, good night to you, Play.
Salute to the
you
Puerto
know,
Rican, the pride of the Puerto Rican race.
hey man, ship some of that food that you was talking about, man, to my way. I'll send that address to you, man. I want to try it. Want to try it out, bro, because I ain't BBO, bro. I haven't fully embraced my Latin side just yet, dog. Like,
Oh, here you go, man. Here you go, talking crazy.
Like BBO said, man, switch up the chopped cheese every now and then. Take it easy.
It ain't easy being greasy.
better. And gets
Who was
better.
that?
And he works on things. And one thing I will say about
Go ahead, Tommy. You cut out.
you don't believe that he's not content with where he is, and he puts something into his repertoire like every camp.
Who? Oh, Benavidez?
Oh yeah, I can't.
No, you keep going in and out.
No, we hear you. I mean, you're a little choppy, but I hear you. Who you said you mean Benavidez? I don't know if you can hear us.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, he can't hear us.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Oh, okay.
I can hear you.
Let me tell.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay. Yeah.
But I don't know. We're gonna see. I think Morrell is simply the more talented fighter. I look at he has more tools. I look at he has the better footwork. I think he's going, like I said, he's going to be able to hit Morrell at angles. He's going to be able to hit Benavidez at angles where Benavidez won't be able to hit him. Benavidez is going to have to come forward, and in order to land his shots, he's going to have to take punishment. Now, we're going to see if maybe he can land something, and we're going to see if Morrell's chin holds up. It's going to be a fight, and we're going to see. I think Morrell's going to beat him to death. I think
David,
somewhere late in the late rounds of that fight, he's going to knock Benavidez out.
Yeah, I don't think David Benavidez. I don't think David Benavidez ever fought anybody of this size and height as David Morrell and as athletic as David Morrell.
Nope.
I think everybody that David Benavidez that fought that was athletic and a pure boxer was smaller guys. I think David Benavidez was always the bigger guy. I don't think he's ever fought anybody the same size as him, but that was a better boxer and more athletic than him.
Well, I will say this. With regards to Morrell got to change certain things up. You gotta stop being predictable with his offense against Benavidez, because Benavidez has great timing. Also, he can't afford to just pull straight back like he often does in fights, because he gets hit when he shouldn't get hit, man, because he's just got such good athleticism, man. He should be able to avoid a lot of stuff and change angles on folks and not give them such of a huge target, man. And that's worrisome in a fight where, you know, it could be where he's not controlling the distance. And if he's not controlling the distance, that he's pulling back with somebody right there in front of him, and that could be something that Benavidez can take advantage of. I mean, I agree with what both you say about him being the more athletic fighter and a more physically gifted fighter. Will he use that in the ring, and will his corner work? See what my man Benavidez does and thwarts that, man, because I think corner work is going to play a huge part in this fight, because I think emotion is going to run high in this fight, because you know, a lot of them.
You look at what, respectfully, you look at Benavidez Senior's track record in big fights. It's not very good. You look at El Rayo, he had to get away from him. You look at his son, he got beat to death multiple times. So we're gonna see, really, this is a real test of his corner. Ronnie Shields, respectfully, we've seen his track record.
That's what I want to see from David Benavidez. I want to see, can he make adjustment when the normal game plan doesn't work? Because I really haven't seen him make any adjustments in any fights. Now, he might have made slight adjustments, but I never actually seen him have to change his game plan when the normal game plan is not working, because usually the normal game plan is working. He might have to step it up, and that's the adjustment that he made, that he might have had to step it up in certain fights, or he might have had to throw more punches in certain fights. But I never actually seen him have to change his game plan when that is not working. So I want to see if he can make an adjustment. If the game plan that he sets out there is not working, can he make an adjustment? I think Morrell can make an adjustment. I don't know if David Benavidez can, because I never seen him fight no other style than just to come forward and throw a bunch of shots.
Interesting, man. So I kind of tend to agree with you in the fact that I saw a fight where he was getting tapped a lot. And like I said, that Kyron Davis, for me, I go back to that. I know that was about like 6 fights ago for my man. No, like 5 fights ago, but still in all, it was a fight on short notice where somebody two divisions smaller came up to fight him on 2 days notice. And for that to be the case, I know that works both ways, but the superior fighter was still getting out fought in that ring that night. It's just that he was much bigger, and after a while, the toll that was being took on him taking punches seemed a lot worse than the toll that Benavidez was taking from his punches. Now, while he did land more, it's like those more were like less in impact than the few that your boy was able to land that actually rocked the heck out of him. So, I mean, that's a good point. And I mean, I think that he has gotten a lot better, man, like from that point. And you can see the progression in Benavidez' game, man, even within his footwork, bro. So, like, I'm a little nervous with Morrell, if Morrell's thinking that, you know, he's just a robot, because he's not just a robot. It's not pretty, but it's educated. And he does things to me that allow for him to take advantage of mistakes that you might make. And I want to make sure that, you know, Morrell also likewise can capitalize off of mistakes that may be made on Benavidez' route. And if so, we should be seeing like an old school barn burner, maybe like Hearns and Sugar Ray, man. That's what I hope to get out of that, because both of them got pretty quick hands. Both of them let their hands go in combinations, and both of them tend to work off of a jab pretty well. So I can't wait to see it, man. I think that the bad blood adds to the intrigue. I hope that it don't cloud their space up top where they just throw caution to the wind and just start swinging for the fences, because when it's all said and done, you know, one punch from them could slightly alter the fight and greatly change the trajectory of the person who get caught. So like, hopefully, I just can't wait to see it, man. I think that it'd be something that's going to be a great card.
That's something else that we never seen from neither one of them. We never seen neither one of them get clipped and had to react based off of getting clipped. Now we've seen David Benavidez go down, but he wasn't hurt. It was a flash knockdown. So I never seen neither one of these guys get clipped and had to respond to that. So that's going to be another thing that I'm gonna be looking for. If either one of these guys get clipped, how do they respond? Because I haven't seen it from neither one of them.
You know, that is a very, very big part of this fight that could possibly come into play, because both of them have the power to disengage you from your senses, so to speak, your faculties, and then how you bounce back, man. Because honestly, that right there is something that I don't believe they work on enough. Like, I don't know if you can even try to simulate it, but you should be taught, like, hey, yo, whenever you're disoriented, you got to do these things. And how do you stop the onslaught from continuing when you may be at a compromised situation in the ring, man? So that's a true point right there. I would like to see how each one is, if they get tested, how would they respond? But I think it's going to be a great fight, man. I honestly believe that a lot of people say that now as they looking at it, a lot of people honestly don't even believe that Morrell's going to give Benavidez any kind of trouble. So that's why I would say like that Hitchens, Lemos, that what's the name? That Tim Tszyu and what's his name? I forget his name. Those fights come. Yeah, the one that Tim Tszyu lost. Those come to mind, man.
Beltran.
Yeah, Boxram. Yeah, those fights come to mind with me, man, because like so many people are favoring the other fighter, not really truly giving respect to this fighter because of how his fight looked. He said he got hit too many times by somebody that was inferior to Benavidez. So if it's Benavidez, how would that play out? So that's what I'm saying, man. I just like the intrigue with the fight. I like the build up, and I like the particulars, like you said, the measurables, man. You got a fighter that's similar in size to one another, going at it. How that fare out?
Yeah, it's definitely going. It's definitely going. Makes for a good fight for sure. I mean, at the end of the day, regardless of who win, I think we're going to be definitely given the action that we want to see in a fight, and I hope something like this make for other guys want to get in the ring, bet on yourself and get in the ring, because David Morrell is 12-0. David Benavidez is what, 27 or 28-0. David Benavidez could have said, "Nah, I mean, I'm not wasting my time on this guy. He hasn't done enough." He could have said that. He could have said he hasn't done enough, like Canelo did him. But he said, "You know what? This guy's been asking for this fight. I'm gonna go ahead and give him what he wants."
Oh man, we got Chris and Michael Garner up in the chat cooking, bro. I didn't even pay attention, bro. My man said David has sparred with Triple G and Canelo. If Canelo thought he could beat him, he would have fought him already. That I don't agree with. I believe that Canelo is just waiting to build that thing up. So if Benavidez continues to dominate, then that continues to put the lore behind the fight and also the intrigue behind the fight, but also the money behind the fight. So that will be his like farewell fight, the passing of the torch, so to speak. And he also said Benavidez was winning fights till he got shot in the leg. I agree with that. Benavidez was tough before the injury. He said Rayo was with Benavidez Sr. when he beat Pitbull. I didn't know that. I thought your boy from Oxnard was up in there in the corner. Garcia.
I thought it was Garcia. It wasn't
I,
Jose Benavidez. He's with
I thought
Garcia
for
now.
certain it was Garcia. I thought for certain it was Garcia, and I thought that was the biggest difference in the Rayo you saw in that ring that night, as opposed to the Rayo you saw against De Los Santos. Chris also say, what if Morrell ends up looking like Boo Boo? Well, I hope he don't come in weighing like 190 something pounds. That's for sure. Because that wasn't a good look for Boo Boo. But Boo Boo in the first, 4 rounds looked spectacular, man, until he started getting fatigued and before he got clipped with that right hand, that overhand sideways right. He said something about Monster getting dropped but kept coming. He said Sebastian beat up Temzo. Now, Sebastian definitely won that fight, but I believe that it was going a different way until the elbow or to the head was opened up. I think that fight honestly should have been stopped, man. He was losing way too much blood. I know he had to be weakened by that, and on top of that, it was hard for him to see. I thought that Tim fought a hell of a fight in spite of all of that. And if Monster wants to smoke, man, I know that Tank, he was only 3 pounds away from 30. He can get up to 30 because I know he's bigger than Tank by a long shot. You can just look at his legs and tell he's a bigger person than Tank. He should be able to get to 30, and we can make that fight happen. That'd be epic. And we can see what Monster really made of, because I seen him get hit by Tapalis. I seen him get hit by what was the old boy name before Tapalis?
Who you talking about?
I forgot. The Monster anyway, the fight he had before Tapalis.
Oh, Neri.
Neri. I saw Neri tee off on him. Imagine if Tank tee off on him. So, I rock with Monster, but I just don't think he's the monster that everybody else think he is. I think he's just been bigger than most of the people he's been fighting. And I mean, he's a 5. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say you talking about Monster anyway, moving up 3 weight class. He's not even at 126 yet. This man hasn't even moved to 126 yet. So you talking about you want Monster to move up 3 weight class to fight Tank Davis? Y'all asking for that little man to get beat up. Y'all asking for him to get beat up. It's not going to end well for him.
Ain't he like 5'8" or something like that? 5'8"?
No, he's the same height as Tank. He's 5'5".
Oh, he is?
Yeah, he's 5'5".
Mm-hmm.
He has the same dimensions as Tank. He's 5'5" with a 67-inch arm reach. But the thing is, like I said, he's a smaller frame guy. So him getting in there with Tank Davis, and like I said, he's at 122. You asking for this man to move up 3 weight classes and then to get in the ring with arguably the best guy of the division. No, that's not something that you want your fighter to do. You don't want your fighter to move up 3 weight classes and get in there with the best. Now, he could move up 1 weight class and get in there with the best guy because he's the champion and he's trying to fight another champion. But you're not 3 weight classes and get in there with the best guy of the division. Like Bud is trying to do that because Bud is betting on himself and he's looking for a payday before he hangs it up. Bud is at the end of his career. He's looking for a payday before he hangs it up.
Oh, my bad.
Monster's not at the end of his career. He's not looking for a payday before he hangs him up. He's looking to show that he's the best. So
my bad.
That's not something that you want to do with a guy that planned on continuing his career.
My bad. He was talking about the Mexican Monster. I misread that.
Oh,
I was thinking he was talking about Monster anyway. But
yeah.
Michael Gardner said that he posted that he wasn't with Robert Garcia, but I could have swore after the fight when they was talking about who he would fight next, Robert Garcia said he ain't ready for Tank, but you give us next year and we'll have him ready for Tank. And he was talking about El Rayo after the win with Pitbull. So I'm thinking somehow I don't know if they still not with Robert Garcia, but in that fight with Pitbull, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he was with Robert Garcia. He wasn't with Jose Benavidez. Jose Benavidez wasn't even at that fight. Yeah, Jose Benavidez wasn't even at that fight. He's with Robert Garcia right now. That's why Robert Garcia is up for trainer of the year because of Rayo and the other guys that he has under his belt, but mainly so because of Rayo. because Rayo revenged the loss that he had to Chris Colbert, and then he went up and beat Pitbull for the title. So that's why Robert Garcia is up for Trainer of the Year.
Yeah, I remember after the fight with Pitbull, they was trying to get the fight with him and Tank, and I remember Robert Garcia saying, "Nah, we're not ready for Tank. We got some other stuff that we got to handle before we get in there with Tank." But in 25, we definitely can see something about Tank, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, like I said, I haven't seen Rayo with Jose Benavidez since Jose Benavidez threw him under the bus and Rayo decided to leave. I haven't seen them back together. I haven't, because normally David Benavidez be at Rayo's fights. David Benavidez wasn't even at the fight.
Oh no,
He looked at Rayo as his little brother, and he usually be at the fight, but he wasn't at the fight. He hasn't been at none of Rayo's fights since he left Jose Benavidez.
That's one thing that is kind of fickle with the sport, man. You know, if you rock with somebody, and I mean, they really ain't done nothing wrong to you, man. I think no matter who they with, you should definitely support them, bro, because you still help fashion them to be where they are today. So you should have some vested interest in them. I don't like when people do that, man. I don't like when people celebrate stuff like that as well, too, man. Going online and talking and saying stuff like that. That's not even cool, bro. Especially if you got a trainer fighter relationship. That's not cool at all. But I know what you guys think about the Riyadh card.
Which one?
The one that's gonna be the rematch of Bivol better be
with Shakur on there.
Yeah, Shakur on there with I think Maduroff and Virtual Ortiz on that bad boy.
It's a decent card. I'm not gonna say it's a bad card. It's a decent card. The only fight that I'm really intrigued to see is the rematch, and I want to see what happens in the Shakur fight. I know. Well, I ain't gonna say I know. I believe Shakur is going to outclass Kid Austin, but I want to see how Kid Austin come at Shakur. But I believe that Shakur is a better fighter than Kid Austin, and I think he's going to outclass Kid Austin. I don't think Kid Austin have enough experience to be in there with Shakur.
Do you believe that Kid Austin has a puncher's chance?
Say that again?
You believe that cliche, a puncher's chance? You think Kid Austin has a puncher's chance?
Yeah, Kid Austin got to learn how to chew before he swallow. Right now, he's still a kid. He's still taking a couple of bites and swallowing, and he's sitting there choking a little. So,
yeah, no, I agree, man. Yeah, it's too many holes in this game for me for somebody as polished and as seasoned as Shakur. Now, I know a lot of people believe that Shakur gonna run and do all kinds of nonsense. I don't see that happening. I think the way my man throws punches, Shakur can literally be within range and make him miss because he winds up too much and, you know, he throws a looping shot. He's going to have to straighten out those punches for me in order for him to even have a chance and making it difficult for him. But I do want to see how that fight plays out because honestly, it's a lot of stuff riding on that fight. A great performance by Shakur, and then, you know, it moves him up as far as status wise towards to like people saying, yeah, I want to see this fight, make it ASAP. I've always wanted to see the fight with Tank, bro, because I want everybody who say Tank is overrated and, you know, cherry picking to see whatever it is they need to see from the people that he's going to be fighting, that they say they want him to fight, that he says they say he's avoiding, and likewise they haven't fought one another. But I hope he does very well, and I hope that it's a spectacular display so that people can start craving and clamoring for the fight with Tank. because ultimately, I mean, we could have had that spot if he was willing to take the fight on a one fight deal. If he truly believed that one fight would give him what he was looking for out of Tank by going in there and beating him. But I kind of understand why he would not want to take just a one fight deal. And I don't disagree with his logic, because what happens if I don't win? I mean, I don't get no give back with it. And then the lasting impression is that I lost. And you know how people look at losses right now. But it would have been nice to have filled that spot up with a possible fight with Shakur. Because I don't, honestly, man, I think the shelf life at 135 for both of them is small. It's almost time for them to move up, in my opinion. Just my honest opinion. I don't know how you guys feel about that.
I think sometimes he gets gun shy, like Chris is saying, because Shakur really hasn't been the Shakur we've seen at 130, and I really can't put my finger on what it is, but he just hasn't been that guy we've seen from the Olympics or the guy we've seen at 130 and 126. I think as he's gotten to fight the bigger guys, he's become even more conservative, and I think it's bad for the fans aspect, but I think that's kind of how he has to cope with fighting the guys who may have some weight on him. That's the only thing I think.
I can see how that could be a problem. I'm looking forward more so to him giving us the performance he had at his first fight at 135, where, you know, he fought the Yoshino character and how he virtually stayed in front of him. I'm thinking that, you know, given the way that Schofield fights, I know why he does have pop, and he is quick. He just throws looping shots too many times, and he winds back. Like he doesn't snap his punches, like he rears his punches up, and that'll be enough time for Shakur to get his timing down, because he's really good with timing and distance. He should be able to utilize that by him to stay in front of him and still constantly tagging without getting hit so much. But I do agree with what you're saying, Chris, man, and I apologize for the mix-up with the Mexican monster, dog. I know Benavidez is for the smoke. I don't think he ducks the smoke. I honestly don't believe Canelo is ducking the smoke. I just think that Canelo says this is a big fight, and it's a fight where I could possibly pass the torch. Let us get paid for that type of fight. And I think that's the one thing that he learned from Floyd. Floyd put on big-time events, and everything was for a reason. And I think that that's what he's trying to do with Benavidez. I don't think he's afraid of him. I don't believe he even believes he can hurt him, man, because honestly, you know, he does most of his damage through a barrage of constant pressure, like constantly hitting you. It's like water hitting your face. After a while, it hits your face enough and you can't do anything. It drives you crazy. It exhausts you mentally. And I don't think that, you know, Canelo, with the exception of the Bivol fight, now if he can do what Bivol did, then there's that exception where he got frustrated from not being able to get his stuff off. So we'll see, though.
That's a good point, though. That's a good point to what you're making. I think that's a good point. I just think that even speaking about Shakur, I think what Chris is saying is true, man. Ever since he started fighting the guys that are bigger than him, he really has turned into a mouse. You know, they say pressure will turn a man to a mouse, and I think he's turned into a mouse. And with his kind of attitude and disposition, you know, he kind of has this thing where if it doesn't go my way, I'm going to be a certain way about it. So that's kind of why you see him kind of fight the way he does. He fights kind of how he talks when he's really talking for real, because what he's saying in one fight, if they rob me, I'll never box again. I'm thinking like, so, I mean, I just never seen a guy with this attitude. What has he done to have this kind of attitude? I get he's a 3-division champion. Yeah, he's a 3-division champion. But the attitude he had, it's almost like he packing out seats or selling out stadiums. It's like, come on, man. The reason we deal with Tank is because Tank is box office. Tank had like 10,000 or something like that, $10,000 first day in seats. So I mean, I just don't understand where Shakur get all this arrogance from. He hasn't really done anything, in my humble opinion, to deserve to be this arrogant. What would you say, Tommy?
I mean, I understand where he comes from. Now, I don't feel like you should feel entitled. because feeling entitled to get you mopped up in the ring one way or another. Eventually, you're gonna get in there and you're gonna think that just because I'm this person and I got this skill that it's gonna be easy. And sometimes you run into a Buster Douglas every now and again. You'd be like, God dang. But I will say that, given his amateur pedigree, his Olympic history, and basically flying through a couple of weights and becoming champion, it does predispose you to believing that you deserve a lot more than what you do. Then you factor in, when you think about it, at his weight class, he's put more cheeks in seats than virtually almost everybody else, with the exception of maybe 2 fighters. So you feel like, well, I do certain things that merit me being like viewed in a higher class and getting paid more. Unfortunately, when you go the top rank way, you're virtually signing on to the machine. The machine is going to get you exposure, but you're not going to get the pay that you're thinking of. I say, and I say it all the time, because, like, for the most part, and I hate to say it this way, because ain't no part of me in me that feels the way that it is, though. But when you think about the relationships that we have with other demographics, certain demographics really loathe us more so than others, and the Latin demographic is one of those demographics that really don't truly rock with us like we should be rocking with one another. And yet and still, when you go over to a certain faction, they love that person, and that person is a person of our background. They name their kids after them. So you see that, something that they do over in this place endears themselves to these people so much, to the point where they will name their children after you. You're getting better representation somewhere down the line. And I don't think he feels like he's gotten that. He's received that representation for the skill set that he provides. Now, I will say that, man, I'm never gonna hate on Shakur, because I believe he truly is one of the baddest dudes in the ring. I know he can be risk averted, and at times when things look like it's tough, he gonna make it tough for that person to do anything, because he's just that gifted athletically. I think that he knows that is the narrative of him. So if there's somebody of inferior status in front of him, I think he'll put on a better performance, man. And especially if you're talking about getting what you feel you deserve. Because, I mean, ultimately, you got to fight towards that money fight, because they in the fighting business because it's better than a 9-to-5. So they in there because they're getting paid, they getting that guap, and he just want to get a bigger piece of that guap.
I think everything you said is true. I'll just say, overall, the product that he's giving you is poop, and he got to understand that no one wants to pay to see you move around the ring. They just don't want to see it. They don't want to see it, man. Especially when you're talking about going to a place and you spending $150 for a ticket, another $80 in parking, and then you talking about buying concessions. I mean, come on, man. It's a very expensive event to go to a fight. It's a very expensive endeavor to do, and I don't want to see you run for all this time when I'm spending, in some cases, my whole entertainment budget for the month, or maybe even several months of my entertainment budget.
Okay, but look, for him though, is it that expensive? Like, are they really charging like inordinate amounts of money for like a ticket and for concessions? Like, isn't it by the actual performance or the show? Like, if you go to a show and they got, let's say, B2K performing, as opposed to having like maybe Backstreet, won't they sell more for Backstreet? Won't everything be higher for Backstreet because of the success that they've generated worldwide as opposed to B2K? Or will it still be the same? Like, will parking still be the same? Will the concession still be the same? And that's another thing, man. I don't think that, that's a way that they can make fights happen as well too. If they can start giving these people a percentage of like concessions, a percentage of parking, like, because the people that are making the fight, they're the ones doing the negotiating. So in the negotiation, if they want to get the fighter more, they can find ways to leverage what they have. I mean, Shakur is still a name, and it's a name people want to see. people want to see, like you said, if he's really gonna run or if he's gonna stand there and toss that leather. So people gonna tune in to see that. I mean, of that fight card, that's the fight I'm most interested in seeing. Now I say that Bivol versus Better BF fight will be the best fight, no doubt about it. But I still want to see what we see in the ring with Schofield, for him calling for this opportunity and getting it, and also for Shakur obliging it and coming off of the last couple of performances where he heard a lot of flack. Cause honestly, man, you know, he's human. And you know, he definitely don't want people talking about him in a negative light, thinking about him in a negative light. And he wants to be somebody that people look to as a box office. Where you go out there and you show. This is your chance to show against somebody that people say, hey, he can sleep you if you mess around. Well, go out there and sleep his ass. So I mean, I like where Shakur is right now, and I think that he's gonna make the most of this moment, man. I don't think he's gonna run. I don't think he's gonna do what people think he's gonna do. I think he's gonna actually step up and give us the fight we want to see. And I think that unfortunately for your boy young Floyd Schofield, that is gonna be at his expense, bro. Because I believe in Shakur. I believe he's a fantastic fighter. I believe that his athleticism is like on another level. His quickness, I should say, his quickness is on another level. His skill set is his timing, his distance is like at the top. And you know, he does a very good job with defense. And I don't see my man being that like accurate on his offense, and I don't see him that varied with his offensive attack where it should cause Shakur much problems. But that's what
I think you're gonna be sadly mistaken when we get to that fight, because I don't think Shakur's that, man. I don't think he's that.
But that's what makes that fight intriguing, what you say too. Because there's a lot of people who feel just like you feel. Matter of fact, my man Chris from AZ, he feel that very same way. He said that shoot, before he moved up, he looked phenomenal. But now that he done stepped up, he's saying Rolly will give Stevenson a fight. You believe Rolly would give him a fight, bro?
No, he'll beat the brakes off Rolly. But you know, my man Steve from AZ, my man Chris from AZ, he be playing, man, because he know Rolly gets stomped on, man, by Shakur. Because you know, one thing I found about Rolly is like brain dead. He got all that power, but he ain't got no brain. You could almost call him a scarecrow, you know?
Yeah, and I think also he picked up on the game late, so like a lot of stuff is like it's not fluid. You can tell it's not fluid to him, man, by the way he moves. The way he moves shows you that, you know, he's not fully confident in the things that he's trying to do in that ring. But if I do hit you with one of these like bombs, it could alter the fight. And I mean, to that point, I believe that he's always in a fight because he can hit you with one, but he gotta avoid being hit. And like that, I can't still unsee that pit bull fight. That pit bull fight showed me everything I need to know. Like, if you gotta make him defend, it's gonna be tough for him because he doesn't know how to like circumvent any kind of attack that's with pressure. My man was just coming out there hurling punches.
He takes tough fights, though. I give Rolly a lot of credit. He take a lot of tough fights.
Oh man, you gotta give him credit, bro. And he was in some championship. I mean, honestly, bro, I thought he was winning the fight, dog, until they started getting on him with the holding thing. And I think that was on his corner. Is that more so was on his corner? Because I'd have continued to tell, hey, dog, let them take points. You make them take the points, disrupt his thing, and then you know find a way to with his movement and with punches, try to find a way to create the separation. Because at that point in time, you know, he was allowing Pitbull to get close, and you know, Pitbull got that like that swinging, that Tyson, Joe Foreman type thing. The way you beat it, I mean, honestly, bro, the way you beat it was how George Foreman did it. George Foreman, but you got to be a special fighter to do some stuff like that. But George Foreman didn't let that stuff even get off.
I would totally agree with that. Rolly really just got so much power. I hate that he's not a better fighter than he is because he got so much power, man.
Well, I think that. Go ahead, my bad.
He could put a lot of guys to bed, man.
No, he really could, man. I just hope that he ain't been damaged with the last couple of fights, bro. Because that Pitbull fight, bro. After talking all that talk, I mean, it was pretty much worse than what Devin did with Ryan. Like he's talking about how this dude ain't got no bark. He all I mean no bite. He all bark, no bite. He a little chihuahua and all this stuff. And then this dude go out there and really push you around the ring and hit you to the point where they got to stop the fight. That might leave a lasting impression on them, man. And that's the other thing that this new social climate it does, man. It allows for people to not relive their glory days or their best days in the ring, man, because they keep hanging on the fact of a performance, man. And this is boxing; it could happen to anybody. And unfortunately, they don't get that leeway no more. I mean, I've seen, like I said, my man, Foreman had my man Frazier over there doing the Watusi in the ring. Name one other fighter who ever made Frazier look that bad, bro. And this wasn't no fluke stuff because he came back and did it again. You know what I'm saying? He just had that dude over there. And nobody can tell me that Frazier wasn't a great fighter. We did a breakdown on Frazier over at the Casuals Corner, man, where we saw the work that he does on a regular basis in that ring. The movement ain't just movement for no reason. He's actually creating defense and also giving you the illusion of something that might be on the horizon for an attack. He's setting things up, man, and he's always punching to wherever you gotta brace yourself or engage him because of the motion, man. And I mean, that's thinking on a high level when you're tired, and he hardly got tired. So what my man Foreman was able to do was just mind-boggling. But ain't nobody else ever done that to him. Nobody. So he's a great fighter, bro. And yet still, like, you had somebody make him look like he didn't belong in the ring with him. Sometimes that just is the case. So Rolly got to get to the point where, his movements, however ugly they may look, however awkward they may look, they got to have function behind it. And that's why I hear what Tank was saying when he said he ain't an awkward fighter, he's just a dumbass fighter. Because you got to make sure that your movements are for a purpose. They're giving you a set function. Because if you're just moving like that just to look pretty or to look like you skilled, but it's like a person talking and using words that they don't have no clue about, but it makes them sound intelligent.
Yeah. The
longer somebody that actually is intelligent have a conversation with you, they're gonna realize you full of ish.
Hey, and we see that with Bill Haney now, like opening his mouth. And shout out to my man, Manager Marty, getting another shout out. My man, Manager Marty, live in controversy, but he doing his thing, man. So you got Bill Haney going to Target and going to Walmart looking for Manager Marty. So salute the Manager Marty on getting on the radar like that.
For real?
Yeah.
For real, my man over there. Oh, that's wild, boy. Bill funny dude,
he
bro.
was looking for him.
It's around that time. I mean, remember not too long ago, last year, it was Merry Tankmas and Happy Thanksgiving. So, it's part of the course for Bill, man. Unfortunately, Bill got to worry about finding his son in that ring and them finding a way to deal with left hooks, straight rights, because that's what was his demise in the fight his last time in the ring. And they got to fight in the ring to get it back. So hopefully, man, they got some opportunities that they can take advantage of, man, and get back on that thing, because I still want to see Tank Devin as well, too. I just want Devin to be in his right space before he get in that ring again.
Yeah, I mean... And
I want to see Shakur and Devin. And I really like to see T.O. and Devin, man. I wish we could have gotten it. I hope we still can.
I mean, Devin didn't want to fight. I mean, you can't force these guys to fight. That's what T.O. been saying for years, man. He can't force them to fight him,
Well, T.O. said he on a mission to make boxing great again. So I'm going to hold him to that as well, too, bro. Just like I'm holding Tank to his words on who he's going to fight. I'm holding for T.O. to make boxing great again, because he's talking about fighting some great great opponents. That would be awesome. So
But you know what's
hopefully,
funny, when he goes and says that, people say bad stuff about him anyway. So it's like people don't necessarily want a great fighter. They just want like people they like to be fighting.
well, BBR, I think people say bad stuff about him because he be saying bad stuff about their people. And then on top of that, when he say he want to fight a Tank or he want to fight a Boots or he want to fight a Crawford, he gonna fight a Claggett, bro. And I think that don't rub well for some people that hear him talk about people being monkeys and getting the banana and all the other stuff that he done said, the wild
Yeah,
stuff he done
that
said.
whole thing was stupid, man. I totally agree with you on that. I'm just talking about as far as a fighter. He does seem to want to make these fights a certain way. It's just not going his way.
Yeah,
You know what
well,
I
I
mean?
mean, I can't deny that, bro. Hopefully they do. Hopefully, like 25, man, with that, like you said, with that David Morrell fight, that Bevo and Better Beef fight, that they press people to start making the fights, man, because that's what we want to see. We want to see a Bevo in a fight in the ring with a Better Beef. We want to see a Morrell in a fight with a Benavidez. We want to see a Benavidez in the ring with Canelo. We want to see a Tank with a Shakur. We want to see a Tank with a Devin. We want to see a Tank with a Tio. We want to see a Tank with whomever. Likewise, we want to see Devin and Shakur with the other people, man. We want to see the fights at weights where they actually can be competitive, both people. So, like, I want to see that damn fight. I want to see it at a place where they can actually give their very best, and I want to see how it fare out, man, because that's ultimately the spirit of boxing. Getting in there and showing what you got, if it's good enough to best your opponent, man. That's where you need to get back to.
Yeah, I just want the best to fight the best, man. That's kind of all I want.
Facts.
And I think that I'll say this. I will say this has just been a rough year again for boxing, and I would give my man of the year to Tank Davis this year because he tried to do everything he could to get the fights, he just didn't get them. So as much trouble as I give Tank, I got to give the man of the year award because, man, he tried to get a lot of these fights. Man, he tried, man. It's just didn't go his way, I don't know, my man Thomas here. I think he fell off. But no, what I was saying, Thomas, is I would give Tank Davis my man of the year award because he's tried, man.
Yeah, but at some point in time, you gotta try harder, bro, and that's where I'm at, man. Because you can't say you want to make these fights and then not give every opportunity to make in the fights, bro. Like you gotta exhaust everything. Just like for these people who say they want to fight him, you gotta exhaust every opportunity. You gotta make sure that what you're bringing to the table is being recognized and acknowledged by people to the point where people be like, "Yo, we want." I think premature, but I like what my man did with recently calling out. God dang, I can't even think right now. Well, who just recently made the call out, even though they still had a fight? My man Foster.
Who?
Wasn't that Triple D calling out my man Usyk, telling him he want that run back? I like how he stepped up to the fight and said, "Hey, look, man, you did a fantastic job in that ring, and I got some business to attend to, but I'm looking forward to running that fight back. So I go up in here, handle my business. You've already taken care of yours, man. Let's go on and run it up again." And I think that's where we got to get. We got to get to the point where these people, instead of spending time on a damn Twitter, on a damn Instagram, or a damn YouTube, they actually spend time at a venue and say, "Look, this is what we need to do."
Hey, I'll be excited when that happens. It just ain't happen. Because I don't think nobody wants that more than me. I don't think nobody wants that. But on that note,
Yeah,
I don't
man.
think
I don't know
nobody.
what's going on.
Yeah, I don't know. He said. What about people who are making the fights happen for the fans? Bivol, Monster, Morrell, Usyk, and Fury. Yeah, it is some guys doing it. It's just other guys who are not. So, I mean, we want to see the fights, and hopefully, guys understand. If you don't give us the fights, you won't get the money. Kind of how that works. Either give us the fights or you don't get the money. What you think, T?
Yeah, no doubt for sure.
My man T having some technical difficulties, but I was trying to get to the 3-hour mark.
Did you get to the 3-hour mark, dog?
Nope.
Well, all right, then, man. If you gotta go, you gotta go. But
No,
Chris,
I
man,
don't.
we
I'm
still
waiting. No, I'm good. I thought you was going out.
nah, I'm good, bro. I was just gonna say, Chris, man, I salute them cats, and I think that they should be the wave for how it play out for the rest of these people going forward in 2005, because we're starting off 2005 with 2 fights that we really want to see. So, with that being the case, maybe it take flight and make us get these other people to press along, and these other boxing entities that say, look, yo, this is where we need to be. Like, the only thing that I will shout out for Turkey is that if he's trying to make a tournament like they used to do back in the day when they had the Super 8 and the Super 6 with Monster in a way, where they got together, him and my man Onito the Nerd, and I'm all for that. But I'm not really big on Turkey. I think that Turkey is fool's gold, and I think people gonna see it eventually, man. I think that he has an agenda, just like they did with PGA and everything like that. But I could be wrong, and I hope I'm wrong, and hopefully that he pushed forward for that, because that would be awesome. But
Yeah, I would love to see a
ultimate,
Super 6 again.
yeah, for sure.
Because that was good for RJ Ward's legacy, but it was bad for his money, man.
Why you say that?
Because he didn't get a chance to really maximize his body. He just fought the next guy after. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, hopefully they get that stuff taken care of in this newer format. Because, like I said, man, honestly, if you do it that way, then you can make an incentive. Say, for instance, this promotion versus promotion. Then the fighter with the promotion, the promotional company with the most fighters that's winning, they can get a bonus. And then likewise, you can make the person whose bout sells and brings in generates the most revenue, they can get a percentage of the gate, the concession, the ticket sales. I mean, it's so many ways where they can go about making things better for the fighters and for this taking place, man. They just got to get a little bit more ingenuitive in the way they put together these fights.
I think at this point, man, they gotta just do it. No point talk.
No doubt. Just do it like Nike, baby boy. I'm with that.
My grandma used to have an old saying, "Do it or you don't." She said all the time, "Do it or you don't."
And she also said, man, you don't be going up in people's houses with ski masks on either, man. Sometimes you gotta heed the advice. So hopefully they just do it, because I'm tired of this fights not happening. I want them to do it. So hopefully they heed your old grandma, your granny. What's your granny's name, bro?
You gotta either do it or you don't, man.
Yeah, hopefully they heed that advice and start doing it, because so far, man, the fights that we get that actually, I mean, like I said, man, and the cool part about it was we got the B-ball veteran fight, and during that time, what people were talking about? They're talking about Ryan Garcia. They were talking about Devin Haney and Tank Davis. Neither of them had a fight, bro. But we had the best fight possible in that year, and it delivered, and we didn't even cover it the way that we should. So hopefully we give the respect to these fights too, because we haven't been known for doing that. We haven't been known for doing that. And it would be nice to give these people their proper due, because they are putting on for us. But yeah, man, I feel you.
Yeah, man.
And I feel Grandma too, dog. Grandma was a good person, dog. She raised a fine young individual, man.
I used to love that though. She said it all the time. Do it or you don't. Hey, but on that note, I ain't gonna lie, man. I'm about to go to bed. It's your boy BBO.
Go to bed, bro. It's your boy BBO.
He said, and BBO, don't be looking at my lady Carissa. Hey,
Carissa about to be back in that ring.
Clarissa Shields. Her movie was pretty good, man. I stole it, but it was a pretty good
dog. People said that.
It was really good.
That's what I'm talking about.
I didn't know she had been through so much, man. I didn't know she had been through so much. She really had a rough life. Huh?
What she done been through, what they say.
No, I'm just saying, just like, really pretty much it's poverty. Pretty much it's poverty.
Oh, for sure. For sure, yeah. I could believe that.
That's everybody's
especially
plight.
being from that area, dog. That area was tough. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
It's a lot of places like that in the Midwest where they depended so much on them factories and it just didn't work out when they left.
Yeah, but on that note, man, we up out of here now. I was about to say Pittsburgh won them, but on that note, we out of here.
Hey, and don't forget, we got our gangs. We're gonna learn about the gangs, young neighborhoods. We're gonna learn about the 60s, Rich Rolling. We're gonna learn about the Compton, Paru, P-Funk. We coming up. Me and Tommy putting the show together, man. It's gonna be something special for y'all. And we gone.
All right.
And our own Tommy is actually was part of the P-Funk back in the day. So that was pretty cool.
Peace out, Chris from AZ.
Peace, my brother.
This is a sick Negro.
Ladies and gentlemen, hailing from Cleveland, Ohio, I give you BBO.
Oh, we boxing? Yeah, we boxing. I need that belt like it ain't no other option. So we punching and weaving and blocking. Defeat ain't an option. Let them know. Shoot a video. Put it on BVO. Let them know. Every time I punch, it's a heavy blow. BVO. Bound to hit like bricks cause it was set in stone. Let them know. I ain't getting body, but I'ma hit this flow. Yeah, way more than a show. This is BVO.